Going on, everybody? Welcome back to another electric episode of the Viall Files. I am your host, Nick, and boy, do we have a jam-packed episode for you today. Later on this episode, we have the stars of Netflix's Love on the Spectrum, Abbey and David, the charming couple from that show. We get to know them. Lovely couple. Excited for you guys to hear that.
We were also joined by Abby's mom, which I thought was so interesting to get to just like pick her brain about everything she's been through.
Yeah, she truly has like dedicated her life to her daughter, and she has a lot of fascinating insight into the autistic community. Wonderful interview. Excited for you guys to hear it. Also, we have the host of the new hit show on Netflix, Battle Camp, Taylor Lewan, formerly of the NFL. Also very excited. One of the former hosts of the Viall Files, friend of show, Sugar Lyn Beard, also starring in the new hit show, The Studio. She has a very dynamic role. She stars in
She's
the
a
episode. What's the episode called? Which one is it?
It's episode 6.
It's episode 6.
How fucking dare you?
I think it's called The Oncologists, maybe?
Oh, okay.
Or
yes,
The
yes.
Doctors,
It's my favorite one
maybe?
so far.
Oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Mine
You know
too.
what? I play Dr. Rebecca Chan Sanders, and it was a complete joy. As an actor, you get to like go through the scenes, as you know, they're like shot in one. So it was like doing a play. It was all these amazing heavy hitters. It was so funny. It was a dream come true, and I'm proud of my performance.
I think it'll be really cool for River to be able to watch that one day and be like, oh my God, that's my babysitter.
I know,
Like,
but
how
we're going to have to
cool.
start her on me
Well,
and the
in the
Care
beginning
Bears,
of-
and
no,
then
no,
we're
no.
going
We're
to have
going
to
back,
start
of
her on,
course.
me and Sailor Moon. There's a lot
There's
of
a
Shug,
lot.
of
Yeah.
anti-Shug out
No,
there
you're-
for her
you're-
to enjoy.
Well, for any listeners that have been with us since the beginning, will remember Sugar Lyn. I did have to fire her from the show. I'm just kidding.
I quit, but go on.
You got deported.
I did. I basically got
Um,
deported. I basically got deported, but I had such a great time on the show. And honestly, it's really fun for me because that was the very time that he was courting Natalie. So I got to be in on all of the behind the scenes, encouraging him to lock it down.
So if all of y'all are pissed that me and Nick are together, you can blame Shug.
You actually can, and I will take your calls. We could do a whole separate series where I calm y'all down about this relationship that I love so much, and honestly get to witness in a really beautiful, unique, and intimate
What's your favorite
way.
thing about our relationship?
I like how you tease your husband because
That's my
teasing to
favorite part,
me,
too. Yeah.
teasing to me is like my favorite love language. So I love the way that you knock him down. You know,
Perfect. Yes, of course.
For sure. 100%.
But I bring him right back up.
you sure do.
Yes,
you
I do.
sure do.
Yes, of course. She is now officially our babysitter. You may
Okay,
ask
can I
where.
stop you
What?
right there? I do not
She's a
like the
sister
term
mom.
babysitter
You don't
at
like-
all.
No, Do you find
No,
that's
I'm not
degrading?
12. I'm like, I'm a
But you're also
sister
not-
mom.
You're
Yeah,
sitting
yeah.
Our baby.
You're also not our
I'm
like.
not sitting
Where
on
is
your
River, by the
baby.
way?
I've never sat on her once.
Okay.
Never. I don't know where she is. Where is she? She's sleeping, obviously. No, it's sister mom.
We're sister moms.
We're sister moms.
Yeah.
Thank you.
She's not our nanny. She's not our babysitter.
No.
She's our sister mom.
That's right. Thank you.
Like, babysitter is not PC for
Stop
2025
it. I
anymore?
don't like it. I don't care if it's PC.
But you're so young.
I know. My youth helps, but I'm not a babysitter.
Well, I have been obsessed with the Karen Reed trial, and I have not been able to take my eyes off of the screen. Sierra, why did you open your mouth?
Yes. I went to a screening of the documentary from the first trial, and then yesterday I kept kind of like trying to like tap in and be like, "Oh, gotta work," but like, it's intriguing.
It's
What do you
wild.
think?
Yeah,
What,
Natalie
do you
just
think
got me-
she's innocent or guilty?
I don't know. Like, I genuinely do think that she's innocent, and I think that she's being framed.
Me
But
too.
like, I'm like,
I-
I haven't paid attention.
Natalie
enough to
just
this
got me
trial
into it, so
go-round.
I'm less than 48 hours like into this case.
What have you
or
gathered?
I'm generally being aware of it.
But
Like,
also
Em-
a nonstop 48 hours because I haven't stopped talking about
that's
it.
true.
Truly.
Emily Baker did make me aware of it long ago when I was like, when we were talking about her coming back, and she was just deep into Karen Reed, and then Natalie told me about it, and I was like, what is this Karen Reed? And then she's like, I think she's innocent, and I'm like, what? And then she told me about it. Once I heard about the Google of how long does it take a body to die in the cold, I was like, and then I heard
Oh.
Boston Police Force. And after watching The Departed, I was like, these are all just a bunch of crooked fucks. But there's so much there's so much reasonable doubt and there's so much shadiness. What did you talk about yesterday? The SIM card cracking?
That was this morning. The Brian Higgins, who was in the house with the
Brian Higgins, for the
Alberts.
people who don't know.
Brian Higgins is a friend of John O'Keefe and the
also a cop.
Alberts. John O'Keefe, he's an ATF agent. John O'Keefe was a Boston cop. And they all went back to the Alberts house. And supposedly to Karen Reed, she was like, go see the vibe, do a vibe check. And he went in to do a vibe check and then didn't come back out. And she was getting pissed. So she's calling him being like, can I come in? What's the vibe? He's not answering. So she gets pissed off. She's like, fuck you. I'm going home. Leaves. And then he never comes home. She's blowing his phone up the whole night being like, you motherfucker. She thinks he's out there cheating on her. And she wakes up. He's still not home. So she freaks out. She's calling Jen McCabe. She's calling Carrie Roberts. She's like, where is John? They're like, we don't know. Come pick us up. We'll help you look for him. Why don't y'all call him? Isn't that weird? Why weren't they like, oh, let me try him. Maybe he'll answer my call. Nope. They're just like, come pick us up. Then they go back to John O'Keefe's house. Why go back there? That's just where Karen Reed woke up and he wasn't home. So then they're driving around. They go back to 34 Fairview where she dropped him off for the party.
And honestly, the passion,
and
I've
the first and last
never heard
names.
you speak so passionately
Besides
about
at my
anything.
wedding.
Besides at your wedding.
Yes. And they go back to 34 Fairview and she sees John O'Keefe laying in the snow and she's like, oh my God, there he is, jumps out of the car. The two women with her are like, where? We don't see him. There's so much snow. We don't know where he is. What's crazy is Jen McCabe stays in the car while Karen Reed and Carrie Roberts go out there to perform CPR on him. Jen McCabe calls 911 sitting in the car, but guess what?
What?
Karen Reed was calling John O'Keefe's phone as they roll up to 34 Fairview. And he doesn't answer, obviously. So it goes on to voicemail. And she jumps out of the car because she sees him. The voicemail is still running. Jen McCabe is on the phone in the car. The voicemail on John O'Keefe's phone picks up everything Jen McCabe is saying on the phone. She got off the phone with 911, calls her sister, who is married to Brian Albert, who is in the house, and says really quietly in a very low voice, Why? Why are you warning your sister that someone's coming, that the police are coming to check on the dead body in your front yard? It's getting very suspicious. And Brian Higgins was also in the house and he took his SIM card out of his phone and ripped it up or bent it, broke it, threw it in a trash can along with his phone, then got in his car, drove to a military base to dispose of his phone and his SIM card. Why? What was on your phone?
What was his
one of the people in the house
explanation?
also an EMT with life-saving skills?
One of them was another Boston cop. Or he was in the, he had life-saving capabilities. He was Jen McCabe's brother-in-law, Brian Albert. And she never once thought, oh, maybe I should go inside, wake up my brother-in-law to actually perform CPR because Karen Reed doesn't know what she's doing. Never once did she say, let me go inside and get some blankets because it's freezing out here in the snow to warm up his body. It's very
Did
suspicious.
he explain why he broke his phone?
I think it was along the lines of I just do that when I'm done with phones.
So trial number 2 is currently going on because trial number 1 was a mistrial or a hung jury or what?
I believe it was a mistrial. But wait, did you see the police officers the night of the incident that they were collecting evidence in red Solo cups
And then putting
they were
it in a
collecting
grocery
blood from
bag?
the snow? Mm-hmm.
I will say that one, it does seem a bit suspicious, but it was a blizzard and maybe they were just doing the best they could. That is the least suspicious of all the suspicious things that Natalie just mentioned.
What about the video where they're in the auto shop and they flipped the perspective
Crazy.
of the videos?
Say more.
Crazy.
What?
So it looks
What?
like, and
This played last night and you were falling asleep while we were trying to watch the documentary.
Sorry.
So the whole thing that they're pinning Karen Reed on is she used her car and backed into him, and that's why she has a broken taillight. That's what killed him. And she does have a broken taillight.
Why? How did she back into him in the first place?
They're saying that she was drunk. It was dark.
So he got out of the
he- in
car
a fit
and
of
just walked
rage.
behind the car for no reason? Like, why would he do
And
that?
also, wouldn't there be evidence beyond the broken tail light,
Like his blood?
like his blood, or
Yeah, you would think for sure, but they didn't really care about any of that. So yeah, so then Karen Reed is like, well, how did I get this broken tail light? Like, honestly, like she was like, maybe I hit him, but I really don't think I did.
'Cause
Like,
she was
honestly. She was
hammered.
drunk. And then they watch back the ring footage of her like at John O'Keefe's house, and she had backed into his car on her way out.
oh,
And then they show footage from the like auto body shop that this Trooper Proctor, who is crooked, and thank God he's fired,
Why
took
is he
her
crooked?
car.
Tell the audience.
Well, let me finish this part too. They take her car to the auto body shop to like investigate it, and they flip. They have the camera mirrored, right? So you can't see what's happening on the left side of her car where that broken taillight is. There's like someone over there doing something, and it is giving Agent Proctor, Trooper Proctor, took off some pieces from her broken taillight, put them in his pocket, went back to the 34 Fairview and like sprinkled them all along the front lawn. Because people had done searches, they didn't find anything. They had like taken a leaf blower and like blew the snow around. They didn't find any pieces of taillight. And then all of a sudden, they have like the search team go out there, and there's like 47 pieces of broken taillight.
What's the most interesting about that is the timeline, because they talk about, again, like you said before, they were looking for material, and it was like a long period of time. Like, let's say like an hour, 2 hours are looking for stuff, didn't find anything. Then they came back out, we're looking for more stuff. And then all of a sudden in like a 15 to 20 minute span is when they found all these items of glass and like debris from allegedly her car, which is like, wait, so like you magically found it all at once in a short period of time while
And
you've
honestly,
been looking for hours?
like if you hit a human being with your car, it's not going to spread shards of glass across the lawn. Like
No,
what?
it's great. And on those pieces of taillight was John O'Keefe's DNA and 2 other males' DNA. And like our Lord and Savior Grace, Alan Jackson said, if the Commonwealth doesn't want to change their theory to Karen Reed now hit 3 men with her car, then their theory
What
is
are we
gone.
doing here? And Alan Jackson is who? Not the country
Is Karen Reed's
music
lawyer.
star.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yes, he is Karen Reed's
Karen
lawyer.
Reed's
Oh,
And
lawyer.
he
was
sounds like he's
also-
going to be fun.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was also Kevin Spacey's lawyer, which,
Oh,
you know,
well.
I wasn't
There was
involved in
no
that case.
guys. There was no winning the Kevin Spacey. He lost. He lost
Actually,
from
he
the beginning.
didn't.
He
He's been
got
cleared.
out?
Yeah, Kevin Spacey has been cleared.
Oh, that's why he's
Because of
out and
Alan
crying about being
Jackson.
broke.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Anyway,
let's,
so that's
let's not
yeah.
taint the Karen
No,
Reed
no, no, no,
case
no.
with
Sorry,
bringing up
sorry,
I don't know
sorry.
anything
You're
about
right,
the
you're
Kevin
right.
Spacey case. All I do know is that he was the same lawyer, and I just have to say that I am Team Karen Reed, and like if you're not, I don't really give a fuck. So please don't DM me.
Go
Thank
watch
you.
The Departed and tell me that Karen Reed's guilty. I dare you. I dare you. Thank you for that very eloquent, very entertaining recap of a case that's been going on for a long time. I'm hooked. Eventually, we'll get Emily Baker on to debrief this case
I
from
feel
a
like
more
I
legal
honestly-
perspective.
oh.
Well, I mean, this is more from an entertainment, like you're the color commentator.
Yes,
You know, like Emily Baker's more like the play-by-play. She is obviously balls deep in this case, where she said she will try to come out when the prosecution
Close.
rests.
Good.
prosecution.
Very good.
But anyways, I hope this scratched that itch for all you true crimers out there who are also fans of the Viall Files. Whew, lots to get into today. Before we get into breaking down the Valley, which we all watched this morning.
Yes,
the happy
we
little family
did.
that we are. Do not forget that yesterday's Going Deeper with Lexi Wood is out now, and boy, she gave a scathing review of her relationship with Jesse. You do not want to miss that. It is, oh boy, it was piping hot. I mean,
Yeah.
it was.
She didn't hold back.
We gave her a cold brew. By the time she was done talking, it was a hot coffee. It was.
Come on, that was cute.
Yeah. Cold brew.
She also, if you did not know, we talk about her past relationships as well. One of them being Brooklyn Beckham,
Oh,
who is now
really?
under fire from his family. And I got to say,
Under fire.
he got fired from his family. Sierra, can you help us out here?
Nicola Peltz is allegedly fed up with how narcissistic Victoria and David Beckham are, and they verbally berate Brooklyn. The actress alleges that she doesn't like the way her husband's narcissistic parents treat him. They've reportedly made themselves available for months and months to discuss the ongoing drama, but are devastated that David and Victoria don't want their daughter-in-law around for the conversation.
I feel like there has been nonstop like fighting between Nicola and Victoria Beckham, right? Like I feel like we're always seeing speculation that they hate each other.
Right.
I thought it started strong. I thought that they started in a really, really good place.
It kind of felt like they would post things, though, intentionally to kind of be like, oh, here's the headline that's coming through. And then they're like, no, we're together on a yacht. Like, no, we're together celebrating my birthday. We're best friends.
I mean, we just have like, what? How old was Brooklyn when they got married? I mean, who knows? Maybe there was stuff going on behind the scenes that we didn't know about. But we had 20 some years of like a relatively like close dynamic between Brooklyn and his parents. And all of a sudden, someone shows up and then things change. You know, like what's the difference, right? The
Yeah.
new person. Like, I don't know. Like,
They've been married for 3 years.
For 3 years?
For 3 years, and he's 26 now, so he got married at 23.
I got married at 25.
Nick got married at 58, you know?
I don't know. It's just I don't. Maybe I
It's
don't
her
know.
first
Maybe
baby.
maybe David and Victoria are narcissists.
I feel
and-
like I would pay David Beckham to verbally berate me, but
Honestly, like, and they're your in-laws. Like, have some,
Why?
they're older people. They're your in-laws. Respect them.
Hot.
Like, don't come out in the news and be like,
Yeah.
they're mean. They're mean to my husband. Like, what are you talking about?
I feel like that is causing just more issues within the family to like take it to the public.
Yes.
You know, like take it to a therapist.
Yes.
you know, if all of a sudden some drama came up and like my parents wanted to like work it out with me, and I could understand if they were like, can we just like talk to you and not the person we feel has like created a divide between our relationship.
I feel like they need a documentary or a reality show.
They had one.
And it was gorgeous. I
But it
loved
didn't show the kids and her, did it?
No, I
No.
don't.
Yeah.
No.
No, I need a reality show with the Beckhams.
I mean,
It claims-
her family seems a bit high. I mean, their wedding was a bit dramatic. Her dad, a billionaire,
Mhm.
got into it with some wedding vendors, which I guess now that after I've planned a
Yeah,
wedding,
you
you've been
also
married.
You
did.
also.
I do. Yeah,
Got
I
in it with
actually
some
know
wedding
I stand
vendors.
corrected.
Yeah.
But like David Beckham's dad was really tough on him too, and really like in a loving way pushed him to become the man who he is. And I bet that David has some of that in him too, where he's a strong father, but he's so loving from
So
what I
loving.
can see. We
He
love
was
David.
super kind
you know?
when I asked him for a selfie. a
And
few
Lex,
years
Yes.
ago.
we did ask Lexi Wood about them, and she gave a glowing review of the two of them, but definitely said, I think, that she didn't spend a lot of time with them, but she did give them a glowing review.
Well, good news. Let's give us a round of applause for Clayton Eckhart. The man finally got some justice. For those of you who have been living under a rock and not following his story, the bachelor with the worst luck in the world, his luck has finally seemed to change a little bit after going through years of speculation. Is he the father from a person who turns out she was like a real life Gone Girl person who had like a history of allegedly duping men into thinking she was with their child, regardless if they were actually had intercourse or not. And she went public with this, made his life a living hell. This person has now been charged with like several counts. We don't need to know their names here, but can we go through the list of the counts that this person has been charged with?
Yes. The fact that this has not made mainstream media.
No, it's actually kind of fucked. When
It's
we
crazy.
had Clayton on the show and he like went through the whole story, the mainstream media covered the accusations against Clayton. And then when we had that episode with him and he like went through it, there wasn't a single mainstream media outlet that covered that episode.
But you know what they do cover?
That's so sad.
They covered that Nick was turned on, that I was strict with the customer service people on the phone.
No.
So thank God they got
That's
that
what they
out there.
picked
but
up
but
from
not,
that episode.
not
Wow.
Clayton clearing his name. They didn't want to cover that.
Oh my gosh.
I have that
poor
she's
man.
accused of several felonies, which include fraudulent schemes and artifices, forgery, perjury, and tampering with physical evidence.
Crazy.
There's one count of fraudulent schemes.
Just out of curiosity, Leah, what mainstream coverage has covered this story as of today? Like when Clayton announced that this person has been charged, has anyone covered it?
We've got the San Francisco Chronicle.
Oh, okay.
We've got
Love them.
Fox 10 Phoenix,
The Arizona Republic.
12 News,
Wow.
2 Fab.
That's crazy.
So no.
Is
So
that
wait,
like, is there like
so
a
no.
conspiracy going on? Like, well, I mean, this person was charged in Arizona, so it makes sense why the local Arizona news covers it. But
Oh, but guess what? Us Weekly did cover his feud with Gabby Windy
Oh, obviously they would. Yeah.
a couple weeks ago.
like, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, are people just out to get him?
I don't know. It's honestly, it's like I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but that is conspiratorial. No one wants to like clear his name.
It's wild.
Fucking crazy. Anyways,
Well, you
very
guys-
happy for
you-
Clayton.
we- guys tried to clear his
trying to
name,
clear
and
his
and we
name.
know that he
have his
appreciates that.
back.
This-
Is the whole thing like going to go to a trial?
I don't know. This person's been charged with several counts.
He did say in his Instagram video, like, it's finally over. And I was like, baby, it's just about to begin.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
ooh.
think for him, he's just like, again, like it's just obviously very personal for him. I think he's had a hard time getting like national pickup to his frustration. Anything that's come out against him, national media picks it up, mainstream media picks it up. Like it's like, oh, anyone gonna like talk shit on Clayton? Let's pick it up. Anyone wants to clear Clayton's name? They're all like crickets.
Yeah,
And
everybody
so
wants
he's
a
just,
villain.
I think he just feels very vindicated that like now that law enforcement has like said no, there's a real crime, potential crime going on here.
Mhm.
It's just like another bit of evidence to say, no, if for anyone who didn't believe me before, like this person's being charged,
Yeah.
with fraud. It's really quite disturbing that no one
Yeah.
wants it. People, Us Weekly, E! News, do better. Page 6, TMZ, whenever you want to just, cover it, we're ready.
Well, Sutton Strack revealed that she let go of Avi, and she also has not spoken to Garcelle since the reunion.
That's because Garcelle won't talk to her.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
because
it's 'cause
Garcelle's
Garcelle
not
hates her.
responding.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's Sutton that's the problem.
No, it seems like she is potentially the problem.
Yeah.
But I think it's because Garcelle has set a boundary of, I thought you were my friend. You didn't show up for me. I'm tired of this behavior.
Mhm.
And I am no longer interested in like, keeping this friendship alive.
Yeah.
And Sutton seems to be very much team Kyle these days.
Yeah. Well, they did, according to The Sun, they did say that Sutton, Kyle, Dorit, Bozema, and Erica are set to return full time. And there could be between 1 to 2 new housewives.
Oh.
We don't know about Kathy or Jennifer Tilly quite yet on what their status is. But I guess that kind of debunks the whole, like, one will be, right? I mean, when that came out, it was
I mean, like the rumors in Bravo world and all the bloggers, I don't even know why we even spend time,
it's exhausting, yeah.
considering all the ridiculous rumors. Speaking of which, like the one that like Meredith was allegedly fired from the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, which she has put out that she never was and she won't be, which is a pretty easy rumor to debunk because like
Yeah.
I'm assuming she's going to be on the season and there won't be like any like, oh, she's fired. There won't be any like Kendra Moore, like,
Yeah.
oh, not on the show anymore. So-
Meredith did kind of insinuate that. I mean, this is my read on it, but I think she was kind of insinuating that Brittany was the one that was working overtime on a smear campaign in true Meredith fashion.
I haven't seen Miss Brittany singing on my For You page. Has
That's
anyone done a
true.
wellness check?
Wait.
Oh dear.
Yeah, what the heck?
I
Where'd
don't
that go?
Hmm.
Hold on.
Hmm.
That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe it's our algorithm because Salt Lake isn't like airing right now.
Yeah.
Well, I've watched every single one of her singing videos, so if she's singing, I would
You
think
should know.
that the algorithm would say, "Excuse me, your favorite thing
You
on
wanna
the
see
internet
this."
is happening again."
Maybe
Oh,
she's
take it up with your algorithm.
Maybe she's resting her voice.
vocal rest.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's
Can
we-
important for a musician.
She hasn't posted on TikTok since April 29th.
Yeah, but
Shug wants
April
to start a
29th
rumor
was
this
like
is
a week
dangerous.
ago.
I just want to start a rumor that Jennifer Tilly is getting her own show because I think that she is just worth.
We do need her and Kathy on their own.
Don't we?
Yeah.
Like,
No,
just
well,
let's send them on vacation,
Mhm.
and watch them go and spend
Yeah,
their money
Jen and Kat.
somewhere.
I wanted Jennifer Tilly and Kathy Hilton just to just move on over to Denise Richards' show because that's like a comedy. It's lighter.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy and
Mhm.
Jennifer, they're like good comedic relief, but they're not really. Jennifer doesn't give any drama. She's like afraid of drama. She's like, I'm too rich to bother, which I
Yeah.
totally respect.
We love that for her.
But she seems a bit miscast in Beverly
She
Hills,
does.
yeah.
And, there's I want to watch her spend all of that Simpsons money and have such a great time,
True.
Same.
Well, finally, Love Island USA has announced the premiere of season 7. Premieres June 3rd on Peacock. Super excited about that. Also announcing their premiere, Bachelor in Paradise returns July 7th. That's ballsy of Bachelor in Paradise because, I mean, and again, like this is an alleged reboot. We now have Hannah Brown, part of the hosting group. They have a new location, a new showrunner. Who knows? Maybe we'll get a whole new show. But listen, it's a very similar format to Love Island in terms of like love competition show with an ensemble cast of characters. But just like following the debauchery of Love Island just makes historically Bachelor in Paradise seem really boring.
It truly does.
So they are going to premiere their new reboot show 5 weeks in to Love Island, and I gotta say they better show up. The risk is you spent 5 weeks watching like the Premier League, NBA, NFL, whatever your favorite sport is, and then you tune into like high school sports.
Truly, we've fallen in love with these people by week 5. I'm
So
just 100% invested.
These characters better show up. Tough act to follow, as they say, but we will be following it nonetheless, either enjoying it or saying do better. So we'll see. All right.
The Valley.
Well, the Valley opens up with Jesse showing appreciation for his daughter, paying attention to fashion because he has these fashion slippers while wearing flip-flops the entire episode. Like I don't. How can you claim to have a fashion forward mindset while wearing flip flops?
Wait, can we also add in those baggy underwear he was wearing?
He was wearing diapers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That was crazy. I was like, sir, what is in there?
Like,
Did
it looked
you
like a
have an
diaper.
accident?
Do you think he
If he
forgot
had
to stuff a
done-
sock?
If he had
Honestly,
done
maybe.
nothing to Michelle their whole relationship, that is warrant for divorce.
Yeah,
Like,
those underwear.
Do we have a picture of that shot? Can we bring it up, please, for the people who haven't watched it? I just keep in mind this is a man who like seems to like highly curate every moment. Like
Yeah.
Jesse is the most. I want to be careful how I say this. The most self-aware person in the sense that he knows. You can tell he knows he's being filmed.
yeah.
Truly.
Right? With other reality TV stars, they seem like they're just like we are watching them, but they don't know that we're watching them. And Jesse always gives, I know you're watching me.
Yes.
And it's so shocking that he chose to wear the triple XL underwear that clearly didn't fit him on
And
camera.
it was like a what do they call our full panties? I guess like period panties. He was wearing period panties. You know, like
We all have
Jesse was
period
wearing.
panties.
He's on day 1 of his period.
Yeah.
He's got like the biggest
Mhm.
tampon in, and also the
And
biggest
also
pad
the biggest
on.
pad. He needs
Yeah.
room for both. He's a heavy bleeder.
He's got a wide set vagina.
It's true. He can't lie down without staining the bed.
Maybe
he's
he's a genius because I will say he's the person I talk about the most on this show. He's the person I enjoy
Oh my gosh.
on my
If
on my TV the
wearing
most.
loose-fitting panties, let's call them what they are, was a move, is genius.
It's genius.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's genius. Also, maybe that's really would that be comfortable for you boys?
Not really. That's the thing. Because like when you put on, I'm way over my skinny era, Gene. I don't know if Jesse is, but if you wear underwear, like in the skinny jean era, you had to have pretty like tight underwear because
Sure.
otherwise you're getting a bunch of bunching, a lot of
Uh-huh.
not
Yeah.
fun. But like that underwear is going to bunch regardless of how baggy his pants are. So really quite uncomfortable.
What about for sleeping? Like maybe they're his night panties.
Also, like, how did he ran into the house in those flip flops, by the way, and the next
Uh-huh.
thing you know, he's naked.
and he's yelling at Jason to get out of the room
Hmm.
and cussing.
Couldn't wait to take his pants off and flail about in his night panties. They also look like they were from like the 1970s. They were like a weird like cream color.
And they were pilling already.
They were
I could see it. I
pilling
could
for
see it.
sure.
Yeah.
They're like his security undies.
Like his grandma made him for him. He's
Yeah.
like, it's like in a family heirloom.
Yeah.
That was a crazy thing to go on national television and wear those.
What is going on?
It's the
It's
side
almost
view
like
also that
Renaissance
troubles me.
underwear.
I feel like Jesse's underwear was reason number one why Michelle wanted a divorce.
Hey.
Literally, I stand by that.
He's in great shape.
A
You know, he
larger
takes care of the
picture.
bod.
Oh my God, though, but when he came out shirtless for the car toy racing,
Yeah, he
it was just
keeps
like,
getting
come on,
naked.
man.
But that's what I'm saying.
a
He's
shirt
like, again,
on.
he's like, oh, I'm being filmed. I'm just gonna go unzip the top here.
He's definitely putting himself. He's like casting for women. You know, he's like, all right, everyone, this is me, and
Oh,
if
for
you want
sure.
me,
There's no
my DMs
limit.
are open.
Is this account called Blocked by Jax? For those of
Yeah.
you asking, it's not me because I am also blocked by Jax.
Well, speaking of Jax, they started this episode with Jax rage texting Brittany in his 15 minutes of free time in between therapy sessions. Which
Can I tell you
feels-
that Connor and I literally were pausing the screen, going frame by frame,
Same.
trying to read her phone.
it was me.
Oh, same.
But every time I paused it, when you pause it, the lower third box comes up and it was covering the text at the
Yes.
Oh, see, mine, I can hit back and it clears the whole display. So I
Really?
was reading the entire thing.
You
Oh my
lucky
God.
bastard.
No, I had to just keep replaying it. Danny rolled over at one point. He was like, "What is wrong with you?"
Is there a producer hanging out with Jax in this mental health facility? Because like, how is it possible that they're on this trip filming and then wouldn't you know it, right when they're in the middle of like,
Well, he has his diary, his phone diary that he's recording himself on in front of a white wall.
no, I get that, but like, and he can do that anywhere and they can play it at any time, but he coincidentally texted Brittany in the middle of like a
Because
scene.
Jesse told him.
Jesse
was the whole
told him.
thing. She said, how does he know that we're in Santa Barbara? Did anyone tell him that we're in Santa Barbara? And Jesse goes, oh, I did. I talk to him every day. And she goes, why would you do that? It would like upset him. And he was like, I feel like he deserves to know.
No,
That's how he
Jesse, the
knew.
mental health expert that he is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're right. He did text right in the moment. They were standing in a group. They weren't in the middle of an activity. They were all there and ready to read the texts with her.
But that is diabolical that Jax is like sending Brittany these crazy text messages and then texting Kristen at the exact same time, being like, loving it here, feeling so much better about myself,
Yeah.
feeling really healthy. You're sick in the head.
I do wonder if they're allowed to do cocaine at that particular
I do think that is the one that it is allowed.
institution.
Yeah, I do think he did
Yeah.
choose that one after
Mhm.
his AI programmed phone call with Tom Sandoval. I do feel like that.
Wait,
Called breadcrumbing
what is
therapy, where you
that?
don't really stop anything you're doing wrong. You just kind of like trick, just
Yeah, you just
You just go for the
take
vibes.
some time away from the physical location, but you continue doing what you've been
I
doing.
will say that moment where Jax talked about needing to get better, and it was sad. And like there was a
Yeah.
moment where I felt just the tiniest amount of empathy for him. But like it's just it's heartbreaking because you just know he doesn't mean it. I don't.
I know.
But he's
Yeah.
like not upset because of his choices. He's upset because he's forced to have to go through this program. And so he's blaming everybody else. During that video, he kept throwing digs at Brittany. And it's just like, you're not doing the work. You're just upset that you have to be here.
No, he is upset that he has to be there while they are filming. He wants to be
Yes.
filming. He wants to be on the show. He wants to be in Santa Barbara, and he's pissed off that this had to
Mhm.
like go simultaneously as to filming the Valley.
Mm.
What was that insane thing that Janet said when she talked with Zach? I'm
The
definitely the bigger
insane-
person. Or
Oh, yeah. She said, I will sit down with him because I am the bigger person or something.
I don't know if that was the exact quote. That's an insane thing to say.
It's Janet.
No, but
I did think it was really weird that Zach was like, hold on, Nia, I'm just about to get upset and I need Nia to hold my hand because I'm getting emotional. I was like, what is happening?
Why do they keep calling Nia in to be like the emotional support? I feel like she's
she's one of the few.
Normal ones?
Yeah.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because she deals with 3 babies at once. She can handle all of them drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same
Mhm.
thing.
I've never
Yeah.
seen someone sit down on a couch as graceful as she did.
She is like a pageant star.
Did
She
you
knows
notice
how to
that? She like
sit.
sat
Yeah.
down and kind of like opened up her dress very flawlessly like a flower. It was quite nice.
She's a dainty flower.
I don't know if she said I'm the bigger but she definitely gave her credit for what she thought was being the bigger person. And that's just such a weird thing to like acknowledge yourself. Like if you have to point out that you're being the bigger person, are you though?
And also, like, are you actually going to listen to anything this person has to say? You're just sitting there proud of yourself
For showing
because
up.
you're
Simply
showing
just
up.
showing up.
And then Zach's like pissed off at Brittany for telling her the horrible things that he said about her. He's like, why would you tell her that? She's like, because they were bad. He's like, no, I know, but why would you tell her? It's like, well, I feel like maybe if y'all are going to continue to hang out, she should know what you've said behind her back. I don't know.
I was like, I'm not going to lie. Janet made me laugh multiple times during this episode. I was like, don't make me like Janet. But
Yeah,
like,
married to you, I would have cheated on you too.
if I was married to you, I'd cheat on you too. I was like,
But can we talk about how Jesse was speaking to Janet?
Yeah, it was insane.
to
Getting in her
prompt that?
face.
Oh my
In
God.
front of Jason,
Like,
and Jason had nothing to say.
and did nothing.
Oh my God. That
That is
pissed me off.
crazy.
I was just like, are you really going to let him speak like that? And then Jason goes to like see if Jesse's okay after the emotional ball thing. And he was like, get the fuck out of here. And I was just like, oh my God,
But-
you are wearing granny panties.
I will say, I don't know if it's a Bravo thing, but the way, I mean, every Bravo show that has an ensemble cast of men, they look out for each other way more than they look out for any of their women friends or spouses.
They could
It's-
never be Nick.
I just
Yes.
like, I want to be on one of these shows so bad just to be like, you guys are fucking losers.
Yeah.
Like the way you just like, you're just fucking like the bro code into your 40s is kind of fucking lame. It's just
Truly.
so pathetic.
Yes.
It's just like have a fucking like backbone and like you don't need to be one of the guys into your 30s, especially when they're like wearing underwear like that. And
Can we talk about why Jax was like, listen, my wife, and it was in sickness and in health, and I'm sick. It's like, I'm sure also in your vows, it was like, I don't know, maybe like not cheat on your wife, not call her horrible, horrible names, but like none of those matter. Just like, you're sick. You need help.
So support me.
I feel like Jax is manipulating his therapist in rehab.
100%.
Because every time he comes out of a therapy session is when he rage texts Brittany. And I'm sure he's like making his therapist feel bad for him and being like, yeah, she does suck. Like she
then
does.
that's a terrible therapist. I'm sorry. Like he's
Shouldn't
not,
be working
Yeah.
at a
he's not
mental
that
facility.
No.
smart. He's not that sophisticated, and like you can see right through his bullshit.
I would put it the other way around. I would blame the therapist, probably like just taking the money and being like, you're right. You were sickness
Yeah.
and health. You're sick.
What
a
Brittany did was
bitch.
fucked up.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Also, like this keeping in mind, this is a mental health facility that is allowing Jax Taylor to still like make content for a reality TV show. Like, how serious can it
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Maybe his therapist is an undercover Bravo producer.
That
be? I
seems
mean, whatever it
very
is,
likely
I just like
to
I have
me.
a hard time believing that a mental health facility worth its salt would allow any
a
of
patient.
its patients to
Yeah.
like continue to film content for let's be honest, a toxic reality TV show.
No, it's so fraudulent. It's crazy.
I also feel like the performance at the healing ceremony between Jesse and Michelle was a little much for me. Jesse's like, I can't put anything in the circle because I'm too emotional right now. And then him being like, I'm grateful that I'm in this toxic situation, but my daughter is not like, you
My
know,
daughter's
she's still
thriving.
thriving. And then for him to immediately like throw it to Michelle.
I
It's
know.
like, come
Michelle,
on.
you
He's
go
so
next.
pissed.
Yeah, your turn. Do you want to say anything about
Michelle's cold face is glorious. Like
Yeah.
her non-emotional cold face is one of the best I've ever seen. As an actress, I really give her a nod. I
Yes.
really give her a nod.
Was the question, what are you most grateful for in life?
Yeah, I was confused by the prompt because they all answered it differently. And then I was even more confused by Jesse's reaction to Michelle's answer because I was like, why did that piss you off so much?
No, why
think
was
it
Michelle's
affected
answer
him.
like, I'm grateful that we chose to the day we decided to get pregnant was like,
Because it was a gratitude ball.
But it was like airing out like something that you had with another person and then like a moment that you're grateful for with, I believe.
because Brittany was like, I'm grateful for my son.
And I think the rules in the beginning was like you weren't supposed to pass it to your spouse or to like somebody that
Jesse
you're in a
fucked up the
relationship
game.
with.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
But, I mean, they're technically not
Michelle's
together.
No longer his spouse. so.
True.
Yeah,
Very
but it's
fine.
like,
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they're in the middle of a divorce.
I wish she
you
would have
know,
said something
so,
about her
right?
current boyfriend that she's grateful about, though, to really just.
I mean, it was kind of funny though how Jessie was just like, if you're that happy, you don't have to keep saying how happy you are. And then they cut to her in the car being like, I'm so happy. She also
But then
went on
she
Watch
was
What
like-
Happens Live.
Then she's like, well, if Jesse's happy, then he needs to go be happy and leave me the fuck alone. It's like you're both saying the same thing to each other.
Then Michelle went on Watch What Happens Live, though. I don't know if you saw. And then she gave Andy a bottle of Aaron's honey and called Jesse crazy for his theories of, well, she went to Runyon and then he lives by Runyon and the honey company. And I was like, girl,
And this is her
that
boyfriend?
one's a little.
That was crazy.
Yeah, her boyfriend owns the honey company. And remember last episode, Jesse was like, the honey was in our cabinet. And then she would put makeup on to go to Runyon. And guess where this guy, I went on his Instagram and guess where this guy lives? By Runyon.
I just feel like Jesse thinks that he's going to garner a bunch of sympathy. Like, let's assume that Michelle did everything that Jesse accuses her of. I don't think a single Bravo fan gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genuinely, no. That's why I said I supported Janet when she's looking at him going, I'd cheat on you too because you fucking suck.
Yeah,
really
it's just like
Harsh.
he just thinks that he's going to garner his sympathy
said.
by like, yeah, like you were a bad husband and not condoning that type of behavior, but it's just no one feels sorry for you because
No.
you come across like an emotionally abusive spouse. Like, I don't know if he is, but that's the character he seems to be playing on a reality TV show. One where he seems incredibly self-aware that he's being filmed.
I don't know. The panties really make me question all of that. But what I will say is that he is like Mr. Crocodile Tears. Like he's
Oh,
like
yeah.
the epitome of white woman tears,
my
you know?
God,
Like
yeah.
that's him all day long. Like,
Yeah.
sir.
And even Michelle called him out with that the first episode where they like sit down together to talk about the schedule of like Isabella going back and forth, and he starts crying and she's like, don't do this, don't start crying, and you make me look cold, and like you put on these tears, and it was
Yeah.
like read him his rights.
And I will say Jesse
Mhm.
is the cast member on the Valley that I'm probably most interested in getting on the couch. And Jesse, if you are listening, if your team is listening, I just want you to know, if you are willing to come on and have a conversation with us, we'll wipe the slate clean. We will assume and we'll go into that interview open to the possibility that you've had the worst edit in reality TV history, that you are a victim of the edit, and I want to clean the slate and start over, knowing that I've never met you in person, and then I want to get to know you and judge from that moment forward. And that's my promise to you, Jesse, is I just want to get to know the real you outside of reality TV and see, why you come across the way you do on this show.
That's also what we do with all of our guests.
I know,
We,
but I just
and
wanna
we
make
haven't
that
said
very
it in a
clear with him.
while. We
Yeah.
haven't said it in a while, but we are judging the characters on TV. We don't know any of these people personally besides Kristen Doty, of course, and we do love her, and we do, and we
But
love
not some of
Luke.
them,
But
but a lot of them we
but
don't.
a lot of them we don't, and we realize that there's an edit, and we realize that they're not in control of that edit, and we could be completely wrong about these people. The only thing we're not wrong about are those panties that Jesse was wearing.
But no, I think that we can use the
I don't
panties
think
as
we're wrong about
maybe an
Jesse.
indicator that he's not all of these things that we think. Like you are not really aware of what you're doing on television if you're wearing those panties. Like maybe the panties is the turning point of having empathy for
Jesse.
Jesse.
Yes, maybe.
Any one of a healthy mind and body would know not to wear those panties.
This is what I'm saying. So maybe this is the first string pull of the world
Mm.
having sympathy for this man.
Maybe.
Well, Jesse, if you're out there, you have an open invite. We hope to have that opportunity to get to know you.
We did get to know
Happy
Abby and
Sick That Day.
David from Love on the Spectrum.
Okay, this excites me.
No, they are the best.
I
They are
love
the best.
them.
They're so sweet, and we had a great interview, a lot of laughs. We learned a lot about them. We had Abby sing for us.
You
so
did?
We did. So they're up
Oh my
next.
gosh.
There's nothing better than cooking supper with your family and then taking it outside and sitting outside and eating your meal on a perfectly built table that you built from Wayfair.
There is nothing better. It really makes you feel like you're living the American dream when you're having dinner outside with your family on a
On a table you built.
Yeah, a table you built.
Feels good.
Well, put together, at least.
But it was
Yeah.
easy because Wayfair makes everything easy. Wayfair has a huge selection of outdoor essentials that will help you make your outdoor space more comfortable, functional, and most importantly, more you. Honestly, it brings the family together, right? It, like being outside, having dinner on a table you put together.
And if you don't want to eat outside, it's fine. They have something for every room in the house. We actually helped furnish the studio with the help of Wayfair. These nice side tables.
But they also don't only have furniture. They have gazebos, pergola, hot tubs, whatever you want to make your outdoor space into, Wayfair has got you covered. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or budget. Wayfair makes it so easy to tackle your spring home goals with endless inspiration for every space and budget, whether you need a light refresh or organization overhaul. overhaul. It's free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff. They'll help you set it up. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online this summer. Get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Summer is full of big moments, weddings, vacations, and endless photos. But if you're dealing with hair thinning or shedding, showing up and being present in those moments might feel tough. Nutrafol takes a whole body approach to hair growth, working from the inside out. So the sooner you start, the sooner you'll be feeling confident and focusing on what matters most to you. You may have heard of Nutrafol's hair growth supplements and wondered, do they actually work? It's a fair question. Many hair supplements overpromise and underdeliver, but Nutrafol is different. As the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, it is trusted by over 1.5 million people and is clinically tested to deliver real results in just 3 to 6 months. My hair was in the best shape it had ever been in before I got pregnant because I was taking Nutrafol consistently. I truly felt like my hair was long and healthy and shiny and wasn't shedding. I wasn't sticking it all over the shower wall. And then I got pregnant and I was so scared for the postpartum hair loss that I immediately started taking Nutrafol's postpartum, and I cannot tell you how much I recommend this product. I have gifted it to Nick's mom, my mom. I've also been told by so many hairstylists that it works. So this summer, stop worrying about your hair and start making memories. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code VIALL. Find out why Nutrafol is the best-selling hair growth supplement brand at Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com. Promo code VIALL. That's Nutrafol.com. Promo code VIALL.
When it comes to spending, sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind. The daily coffee habit, those streaming subscriptions, they add up fast without even noticing. That's where Rocket Money comes in and helps. You can spot those patterns so that you can do something about them and keep more money in your pocket. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. If you are like me, you love to try a new app here or there, and then all of a sudden you forget that you did not cancel, wasting a ton of money on things that you're not using. When I got Rocket Money, I found over $1,000 of wasted money that I was not using, and boy, was I grateful for finding Rocket Money.
One of the best perks of Rocket Money is that you get alerts if your bills increase in price, unusual spending activity, or if you're close to going over budget. Their new goals feature automatically saves you money so you don't have to think about it. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lowering your bills for you. They'll deal with customer service so you don't have to. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when you use all of the app's premium features.
Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app and enter my show name, the Viall Files, in the surveys so they know I sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and tell them you heard about them from our show. That's rocketmoney.com. David, what's your favorite song?
From which one?
Any song. What song do you like to sing the most?
Circle of Life from The Lion King.
Okay.
My song I like to sing
Yeah.
the most is Part of Your World from The Little Mermaid.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I sing the original one and the new one.
What's different?
Halle Bailey's version, she goes a little higher, and I got to go to that premiere.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
That's pretty cool.
2 years
I'd
ago,
not
I
get
went
to
to the
go.
premiere.
That's pretty wild.
Do you like the real life version or the animated version
I
better?
think the animated
Yeah.
version's more right for me.
Well, to
Yeah.
me, I like both.
I think I like
Equally.
them both, but about the same.
Okay.
We've
We
started,
watched it like 2
yeah,
weeks ago.
we started showing our daughter the like original Disney movies, and it's been so fun to like
Mhm.
relive them and watch them back again.
Aww.
I like you remember all the songs, like Abby was saying. It's crazy.
Was the Beast really a prince?
Yeah,
What was his name? Adam? I think it was Adam.
was it?
That's a great
Adam?
question because honestly,
I went to...
I felt like they were a little hard on the Beast because he was so young.
Yeah, he was
He
like
was not- he
12.
He was misunderstood.
No,
He was.
I
I
think
mean-
he was like in his
Is he-
late teens, early 20s.
They
When
said
he-
when he turned 18. Was it 18 or 21?
I think he
21.
was 21.
21.
But they said after some years had passed, so when he opened the door to the witch, he was probably 12.
He had to be young.
So when he was just a little boy.
He didn't know any better.
and you never met
True,
his
like
and they
parents.
turned him
That's
into a
interesting.
beast because he was a
Yes.
snobby little kid. It seemed unfair.
Yeah.
Do you
for sure.
Speaking of that, do you know anything about Shrek?
I know less about Shrek than some of the other ones I've
What about
seen.
Shrek and Fiona? Princess Fiona turned into an ogre because she was cursed.
What did she do to deserve it?
I don't know, because she fell in love with Shrek.
Oh, see, that's
Fall
not
in
fair.
love. It's
Because
all
the
about
prince was
falling in love.
allegedly
DreamWorks
rude.
Water park. Oh, yes.
Shrek Sinkhole Slammer.
Tell them what that is.
DreamWorks Water Park is a water park. It's in the American Dream Mall in Newark, New Jersey.
Is that the biggest mall in the world or no?
No, it's small
It's
America.
close. Oh,
It's something.
Yeah,
it's
but
close,
the one,
right?
It's
Isn't
not
it really
that
big?
yeah, but the mall in Toronto is the biggest.
Really?
Is it
Yes.
now?
I've never
Yeah,
been.
the next time I go to Toronto, the next time I want to go to the zoo, the aquarium, and see the Lion King show.
All of
That's
it in
one.
Toronto?
Yes, that's 1, 2, 3 things I want to do the next time I go to Toronto.
You're booked and busy in Toronto. You have no time for nothing else.
Well, Abby and David, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're so excited to
you.
have
Yeah,
y'all.
we're excited to have you. Are you guys, how do you feel about being here?
I feel good.
Me too.
Okay. Do you guys ever get nervous when you guys do these types of appearances? Or have you gotten pretty used to it?
We gotten pretty used
Yeah.
to it.
Okay.
What she said.
Do you have fun doing them?
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Okay. What's your favorite part about just talking about you guys being on TV, your story? What is your favorite thing to discuss when you?
My favorite thing to discuss is what my life has been like.
Okay. What has it been like?
My life, I have a daily routine. Like I warm up my voice every day. I walk my dog, and I'm even on Zoom calls right now.
And what is that like for you?
Zoom calls.
Abby, do you remember when you didn't know how to do a Zoom call?
I didn't know how to do a Zoom call at first until now.
Okay. And then what changed?
I practiced my listening skills on Zoom calls.
What was different about Zoom calls versus like talking, like we're talking right now?
It was during the pandemic. I had to
Okay.
do it on the computer, not in person.
Did you like that experience better, or did you find it more challenging to talk with people?
Find it more challenging to do it in person
In-
because
in-
sometimes we get slow internet technical difficulties.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is a little slow. It allows for some lag.
Do you enjoy doing this together with David? Do you feel like you guys are helping each other out when you guys are talking and doing these interviews
We
together?
are. We
Yes.
are.
What's your favorite thing about how you guys help each other out?
Our favorite thing we do about when we help each other out, we go over if we ever need a break. Like David needs to go on his phone and do his everyday game, and I need to go on my phone and do Candy Crush.
My everyday game is based on the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland.
And when you say everyday game, this means like there's something you just like to play every day.
Yes.
And what does that do for you, David? Like, how does that help you?
How does it make you feel?
Yeah, how does it make you feel when you get to play that game?
Makes me feel good when I play that game.
It's
Okay.
fun, I bet.
I call it Magic Kingdoms.
Is that your favorite park at Disney?
Yes.
Why is that your favorite park? All the animals?
All the animals. But that's Animal Kingdom.
Oh,
I've never been there before.
you haven't?
Yeah. I've been to Disneyland, but never at Disney World. But I will go there for the Animal Kingdom.
Yeah. What's your favorite animal?
Lion.
Oh,
My
of
favorite animal
course.
is a lioness.
Did y'all know that about each other, or was that something you learned very early on?
I think
Abby, when did you learn that? What was the very first time you learned that about David?
when I first met him.
First date,
Wow.
blind date.
We've met each other at the Wildlife Learning Center since July 12th, 2021, which was 4 years ago. But speaking of 4 years, soon to be 4 years is when we're going to have our anniversary at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, the Roar and Snore.
Now, fun. Do y'all celebrate your anniversary every year?
Yes.
You do. Okay. What do y'all do? Do
You guys
y'all?
know
Well,
what you did
at-
last year?
At 2022, Abby suggested Hurricane Harbor. I used to go there during Tumbleweed Day Camp.
Right, you did.
And then I was going to suggest Roar and Snore for our second anniversary in 2023, but then it got postponed. So that's why I suggested Cheesecake Factory as a backup.
Oh,
Cheesecake
wow.
Factory is a staple.
Yes.
I love Cheesecake
So
Factory.
good.
Yum.
Yeah.
So good.
And our 3rd anniversary, we go to Cheesecake Factory again.
Oh, so
And what
that's
did we
like
do
a-
on our 3rd-year anniversary last year?
In 2024, same as our 2nd anniversary.
Did we see something special?
What did y'all see?
We saw.
Abby, you know the answer.
30th anniversary of Lion King
Yeah,
last year.
30th anniversary, of course. 30th anniversary, of course.
We
Of
just had our
course.
first wedding anniversary.
You
yesterday.
did?
Yeah, yesterday
So
was
when did you guys get married?
April 27th, 2024.
Yes,
Wow.
that was last year.
Yeah.
You know, it was our first anniversary, so we weren't like sure what we should do or how to celebrate it. You know, it's like we were like do we want to do something extravagant and big, like go to the 30th anniversary of The Lion King?
Yes.
Or did we want to just like do something relaxing and normal and hang out with our daughter? Like, it's like, which anniversary was more fun for you? Going to the Cheesecake Factory or the 30th anniversary of The Lion King?
Both equally.
I'd say both.
Okay, see, David, like both equally.
Oh, and do y'all feel like marriage is something that y'all eventually will get to?
Well, we may not know when we're gonna get married, but I do know a perfect place to get married.
Where?
Where I spend the night 3 times, but soon to be 4 times. The San Diego Zoo Safari Park.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to do for our 4th year anniversary. Go to the Roar and Snore.
We might go back to Masai Mara for our honeymoon.
That's in
Yeah.
Kenya.
Wow.
That's where we went for our Halloween vacation during season 2.
That is so cool that y'all went to Africa.
I've only appeared on episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7, but never on 6.
Never.
Oh, what was it about that 6? The 6th one I didn't watch anyways because you weren't in it.
What
That's
6th
true.
episode?
The 6th episode of season 2.
Season 2.
Are you? Do you remember? Are you really good with dates? You seem like you're really good with dates, David.
Yes, we are, and we're still together.
You guys know dates of like movies and like when Lion King came out and right? You guys know that kind
Yeah,
of trivia?
1994.
Yeah,
See?
we go on fun dates like the aquarium, the zoo, and theme parks like Disney and Universal. And we
That's
go
right,
to
we
Santa Monica
do.
Pier, we go bowling, and we even go to the Griffith Park Observatory.
Oh,
That's
a
right,
good
we
one.
do.
Do y'all like challenge each other, like trivia kind of on dates of things? Like when was Lady and the Tramp the first Lady and the Tramp out?
1955.
That's what I was gonna say.
I know that's correct
That's what I
because we
was gonna
watched
say.
it yesterday for the
Oh,
first time in
yeah.
a while with our daughter. I really think it holds up. I
I have
really
dogs
enjoyed
at home.
Yeah.
Mm.
When was Snow White made?
1937.
Do you know them all?
Yeah, that was 2 years before The Wizard of Oz came out. 3 years before my dad was born.
Oh, wow.
It's really amazing. When
That
Abby was
is.
little, I remember she was like 3, and we were going to this doctor's office, and I'd passed the exit on the freeway. We'd been to that doctor's office only once before, and it was a year prior. And she pointed and she said, exit. And then we were in the drugstore going back a year later, and the doctor who we saw one time was a year later. We were in the drugstore in the downstairs in the big building. And she said, hello, doctor, whatever her name was. Hello, Dr. So-and-so. And I was like, come on.
Do you remember
Like,
that doctor?
She,
No.
yeah, you did. It was
What's
a
the
long,
doctor's name?
Angela something, maybe?
I don't know.
Anyways, but she remembered the
But at the
doctor,
time, yeah.
and
At
I
the
didn't.
time.
That's
I
right.
So the-
remember Dr. Sachs, and my favorite doctor is Angelica for my keloids. And every time I go to AVMD, I go to the Viall's that's near there.
Oh, Vito's Pizza?
Yes,
Ooh.
Tell me
Yum.
about that.
What's your favorite food?
from Vito's.
Just in general.
I like chicken tenders and French
Yum.
fries and cheese pizza
Yum.
and plain hamburgers and plain cheeseburger from In-N-Out. And I also like cookies that taste good to me.
Mm,
And
yum.
there's
That sounds
even
good.
cake that tastes good to me.
yeah.
And I like some of the candies that taste good to me too.
You have a sweet tooth?
Mm-hmm.
Abby, what's your favorite food?
Burgers and fries, but
Love.
can I?
No, you know what? You should tell them what you've been trying recently. What have you tried new?
Octopus.
What?
Octopus.
I rather save an octopus instead of eating
I
it.
know. I have to tell you something.
Okay.
Do they have? I wonder if they have octopus at Islands. I can get octopus.
Oh, at Islands Restaurant?
I hope they have octopus.
I am not gonna eat an octopus. I
They-
want it to live forever.
But what if
And
it's
it'll
already
be part of my wildlife park, my own dream wildlife park, the biggest one.
I want to get octopus somewhere.
Okay.
We gotta find her
We'll
some
find
octopus.
it.
What if they
Octopus.
but it's also sometimes called calamari.
I
was
rather
gonna say,
get an octopus,
Yum.
but only as a pet and a living animal at the same time.
What if I ate a whole entire octopus?
That would be concerning.
David?
I think I prefer an octopus as a living animal.
But what if Abby ate a whole octopus?
Abby, that's gross.
I did eat octopus before.
Has he ever eaten anything or drank anything that you thought was gross?
Milk. Well, think about it. I also ate snails too.
I like
You-
Altadena milk.
Altadena milk is good.
It
Well,
I kind of
represents
agree with you
cows.
on milk and
I have eaten some slimy
bless you.
foods like escargot, octopus.
You're adventurous.
What did you eat in Mexico?
cricket.
Fried
What?
cricket.
So you're a pretty adventurous eater. Is there
I do
anything
eat
you
some animals.
Is there anything you won't try?
Spicy red hot chili peppers.
I'm with you, Abby.
Remember what happened when you were younger?
When I was little, my mom and I went to a woman's house. Her son was on the spectrum. She had a son with autism, and she had these chili peppers on the wall. I picked one up, put it in my mouth, and I ran around the house screaming. My mouth was on fire.
Oh my gosh. So
I'm
are
gonna
you
go your time before that happens. And
Who
so
should I
then
give it to?
Give it to Lava Girl, so that's how she could gain her powers.
Yeah, 'cause
so do
she's
you
lava.
like, you don't like spicy foods at all now?
Yeah.
Probably.
No,
I wouldn't either.
I would never eat spicy food ever.
That was quite an incident.
I
I was
bet.
there.
Well-
Like she was only like, well, how are you? 3?
Yeah.
4?
Something like that.
Luckily, the mom who was there had a son on the spectrum, so she was totally, and her son was older, so she guided me. She helped me understand.
What did she
Yeah.
give me?
She like grabbed you. She put water. She got ice cubes, and then she got ice cream on a stick, so she could like put it. And she did all
Yeah.
this stuff, and I just sat there going, "Thank God this mom gets it."
Knows, yeah.
Because it
yeah.
Abby, I'm
rough one.
curious, and David too. What advantages do you feel like you have as a neurodivergent person that neurotypical people might not have? Like, do you think in ways that you have things like talents or skills that you're grateful for that a neurotypical person doesn't have?
I think in categories. I put good things with good things and bad things with bad things. And
Uh,
he and what do you have, David?
I have synesthesia, and for instance, I see numbers as colors.
Oh,
And
wow.
she may not see them, but she's learning it from me.
And you know what? I played the old dial-up internet sound with the phone number, and David said the colors of the numbers.
And
There's
how
the number 2.
and how does that
and
help
there's
you?
Number 3
Oh, what? How do you see that?
by
Dave?
balls.
So the red ball is a number
2.
2.
And the yellow one is the number 3.
What number is green?
5.
Is that to you,
Yeah,
or
it's
is
like
that
that.
for anyone else? Is that
It's
how
for
you
me,
interpret it?
And I hope that everyone will learn that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know
And-
that game Simon?
Yeah,
The
Simon
Simon
says.
game. Okay, so watch him play Simon.
He got a
It's-
high score.
He's how many times, David? Like you go 30 times, but he says it 5, 5, 2, 6, 8, and he has a numerical, verbal pattern that goes with the colors. I get to 3. Like I do 1, and then I'm out.
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's really you're so talented, David, with that.
Wow.
And tell me about your talents, Abby.
I put all the good things together and all the bad things together. Like I put all the things I like go in one category and all the things I don't like go in another category.
And how do you use that skill in life?
That's just the way I am. Everyone is different.
That's how
Sure.
you learn language.
Yeah. But not everyone thinks that way. Everyone is different.
That's part of your autism,
Yeah,
right?
everybody has different taste, Abby. Likewise, my best friend has a Fieldmeyer told me.
He did?
Yes.
What do you put in David's bucket that's bad?
Ursula watching kid shows because of her. She acts like a child because of her behavior.
Okay.
Because of the behavior. And Ariel watches shows for teenagers and adults because she acts more mature.
Are there things that what do you worry about?
I worry about things in life that if the Earth is gonna blow up.
Do you
Yeah.
spend a lot of time thinking about that?
Abby, that's just your imagination.
Right, but I'm worried that do I worry too much?
Yeah, like I told Allison, but it's not gonna happen for real. It's just your imagination. Remember
Right.
that.
That seems like not much.
I don't think you worry too
much,
much, Abby,
yeah.
but one of your talents is your musical ability.
Yeah, I could sing before I could talk.
Really?
Wow.
I started music therapy at 3 years old.
And then that helped you communicate better.
Yes.
Is that why you're such a fan of Disney?
I don't like the Disney villains. I like the Disney princesses more because they're
Mm.
more girly-ish.
Yeah.
And the villains are more boyish.
Does Disney help you relate to neurotypical people better?
Yeah, I used to identify with Ariel because Ariel felt isolated and alone. Just like how I wanted to be a typical kid, Ariel wanted to be a human. And when she became human, she couldn't talk. That's how I felt.
That's because Ursula took Ariel's voice.
Yeah.
Was there anyone in Disney that you related to, David?
No, but I do get to. I remember going to the Walt Disney Animation Studios since last year on April Fool's Day.
Wow.
And I do remember going to Africa, Kenya, Masai Mara.
For a Halloween vacation.
What were y'all for Halloween?
We
I
wear
think I had
animal
tiger
ears.
ears.
I have lion and elephant ears.
Oh.
Yep, I also went to different parts of Africa during Christmas vacation of 2015. Zimbabwe, Johannesburg, Zimbabwe, Botswana.
You travel a lot.
Yes.
Wow.
You like to
Have you been to
travel?
Italy before?
No.
Thought you guys were going to go there. Wasn't that on the plan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plans?
Well, do you want to go to India and see the tigers?
Think so. Yeah, I
How
will
do you
see the tigers.
choose? How do you choose which one to go on to next?
Well, how I choose
I
to go
don't
which one?
know.
Who do you think wears the pants in the relationship? Like who's more in charge? Like who gets their like?
I'm not sure. Probably I am.
Would you agree with that, David?
Yes.
I think so.
That's a smart answer. Yeah.
Play it safe.
Y'all have been on this show for 3 years now,
Mhm.
3 seasons.
Yeah.
How do you feel like your lives have changed since being famous and on Netflix?
It feels good to be famous and on Netflix.
Yeah.
And
Feels
we
really
had,
good.
and we had fans come up to us, and I got used to it.
Does that make you like when people come up and do they ask for photos with y'all?
Yes,
Does that make you nervous or does that make you
it
excited?
makes me excited.
Yeah.
Why
that's
does that
cool.
make you feel good, Abby? What part of it feels good?
With my fans, I used to feel isolated and alone as a kid.
Okay.
And I always wanted to be a grown woman because I knew this would happen.
That's very
Just
cool.
didn't know how.
But remember what you said? How do the fans make you feel?
Accepted like Cinderella at the ball.
Mm.
You feel seen, right?
I feel seen and accepted.
Do you feel like now as an adult woman, do you feel like your dreams have come true?
Oh, yes. And I feel more, I can do a lot more things,
Do you
but not everything. No one can do everything.
That's true.
What dreams do you have that haven't come true yet?
Going to Italy, going to outer space.
I don't think outer space is my thing.
What do you think of Katy Perry going to outer space?
Did she float?
I actually don't know
I
if
don't
they
think-
floated.
I don't know
think
if
they
she
did.
did.
Did
She
they
was only
float?
up there
Okay.
for
They
hit
11
the-
minutes.
It was very quick.
I think they got the zero
got-
gravity.
Okay.
I want to get, am I going to float if I went in space?
Yeah.
You
have
could
to-
do that.
Zero-
They have the zero gravity.
I did it once.
Oh, yeah.
Thing.
Oh, you
you could
did?
do
I want to
that.
try it.
You should do
Would
that.
you?
You don't even have to go to outer space. You just go on a plane. I bet we can make this happen for you.
That
Yeah.
would
Am I
be
really
so
going to go to space?
cool.
Well, no.
feels like
So
space. It
what
just
this
feels-
is, Abby, if
But
I
are you
can
going to see
explain.
the atmosphere?
No, you float though. So it's like a trick almost in a way. So there's this.
Have you been to space before?
I have not.
I really want to go
I
to
know.
space like what Katy Perry did.
But
I'm
second
I don't
best,
feel
would
like
you
going
want to?
to
Would you
outer
want to?
space.
Would you want to be able to
Thanks.
float for a few seconds?
Like what Katy Perry did?
Yeah.
I don't even know if she did float, but she did go to space.
I would love to go to space.
Because there's this plane, it's called Zero Gravity, and it goes up and down and up and down. And I believe when it goes down, it allows people on the plane to float like they're in space. I actually have a picture of it, but I'm kissing another girl, and that my wife would get really mad at me if I showed it to you.
Oh, my
I need to be an
gosh.
astronaut and fly in space.
But maybe we can. Would you want to? Maybe we can get you guys to float. Like
no,
feel
thank
like
you.
feel. You don't.
Oh,
wanna,
David
you,
doesn't want to.
You,
But I'm scared to go in space because this is my first time.
Like
Yeah.
you've broken a lot of barriers. What about water parks? What about your slides you go down? Tell him.
that too.
Were you
Oh,
afraid
well,
of all that, and then now you're not?
I like water sites, but the ones that comes with heights, not so much.
And then what do you do, Abby?
Go to water parks because I used to be afraid of the water and I felt very jealous.
But how big is the one you like?
very tall. It's like 14 stories high.
How
So
did you get over that fear?
So that
But it
explains
was
why-
scary at first, and I was like, oh!
But how did you do it? Did you just talk yourself into it?
Yeah.
Did you have encouragement? How did you face that fear?
By doing it more times. And you know what? My brother Ben did it, and he was terrified.
Yeah.
Really?
Ben was pretty scared.
Abby's friend Rachel Ball doesn't want to go on the big slides because of her seizures. So that's why I have to agree with her because of the heights.
How
Because her
did-
mom said she had seizures. Because her mother said.
Abby, how does it feel to overcome a fear?
A blessing in disguise. I want to overcome fears.
Why do you say a blessing in disguise?
Because I thought I would probably drown if I couldn't swim, but
Yeah.
I figured it out my own.
What's
Tell
your
that
favorite?
story about swimming.
Yeah, tell me about swimming.
I used to be afraid of the water because of my autism, and I got very, very jealous of other girls. Like, I had a girl living next door, and I was very jealous of her swimming. So I would call her a mermaid.
And then what happened?
At 17, I learned how to swim.
How?
Now,
Jeannie Farrell taught me.
oh, thank you.
What's your
Jenny.
favorite is like swim stroke? Do you like the freestyle or do you swim on your back?
I go backwards too.
Okay.
Wow.
David goes like this.
Do you feel like
Did you ever do this at Camp Ramah?
I think so.
He used to do it at Camp Ramah.
Yeah,
Oh.
I remember going on the diving board at Camp Ramah.
Oh, wow.
Do you feel like people look at you now and think, "Oh my gosh, she's a mermaid"?
Yes, that makes. I've always wanted to be a mermaid.
How cool.
Do you?
That's why I've always loved mermaids, because I really wanted to be one. And besides, they couldn't talk, and that's how I felt. Both of those reasons. Do you think it's both reasons?
You tell me, girl.
I think it's both.
Do you have any advice that you would give maybe someone who's listening to this or watching this that maybe doesn't feel seen or doesn't feel like they can find their own voice? Do you have any advice that you'd give them?
Remember to be yourself.
Be your true self and not compare yourself to anyone else.
What is the thing about you that you were afraid to tell people about yourself or show people about yourself that you've got more confident now?
I learned to have conversations. I have more language as a grown woman, and as a little kid, life was the hardest. Like life when I was 2 and 3, life was the hardest
Why was that?
because I had echolalia and I put everything in my mouth, including rabbit poop.
My
That
daughter
is
does
true.
that too.
Wow.
I put rabbit poop in my mouth.
Abby,
You
when the
kiss her.
preschool calls and tells you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you better wash your mouth.
We
for that.
cannot guarantee your safety. She's putting everything in her mouth.
But look how far you've come. You talk about that, and right? How
And my
long did-
mom's older brother, Uncle David, had sensory integration dysfunction. He put sawdust in his mouth.
That's
Oh
something
my
that people have.
goodness.
It's the sensory issues.
Yeah.
But you've come so far, right, Abby? And what do you say
Yes.
about your language? What's our saying that we say?
The more you practice, the easier it gets.
And you've never given up. How many years of speech?
22 years.
Wow. What was that like as a child to want to talk but not be able to talk?
I would physically copy typical kids. I would
Really?
copy them, girls especially. Like whenever a typical kid would sneeze, I would sneeze. I also would call typical girls like Ariel or Lava Girl.
And what did you say? You said you felt like
My brain wouldn't do what I was telling it to do.
That must have been really frustrating.
And when that happens, I shall turn the smart brain on.
Smart.
And also, one of my songs I wrote is called Girl Inside. It's about how autism feels like there's a person living inside me, and she was afraid of the water, not me.
Can you sing it?
It's not me. I'm aware of you now. It's not me. I'll close my eyes and breathe. It's not me. Every exhale, I know you'll leave. We might fight, but you're all of me. We must love each other to be free.
That's beautiful.
That's my original song.
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's an original.
We write this music. We have a co-writer, different helpers, but she came to me and she said, autism feels like there's a girl living inside me. And as a parent, it made me go, because you're always going, what's it like for her?
Mm-hmm.
This is a completely different time-space continuum. I got to get in it so I can help her and understand. And that, when she came to me, we really thought about that. And I thought,
And I used to also say that mermaids eat ice cream when I was growing up.
I bet they wanted to.
is that a category?
Yeah,
Yeah.
also. And also, people who don't know how to swim are on a gluten-free diet.
That's another
Mm.
category.
Because when I didn't know how to swim, I was on that diet. Right?
Right.
What was the first thing that you said? You remember?
When?
Your first word.
Your first word.
I don't remember.
Yes, you do.
Mama?
Nope.
What was it?
Your speech therapist, Beth, was sitting in her house and she
Bubbles.
she said,
Bubbles.
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 Who's that? Stephen Root?
That's Bubbles from Finding Nemo. Also on the list of my favorite movies.
Bubbles is also the name of a character from Finding Nemo.
That's what I said.
Are there things that you notice neurotypical people do that you find to be very silly and you don't understand?
That's a very good question. I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
David, can you think of anything?
Abby.
What are you doing there, Abby?
I don't know.
Do you like to fidget? I fidget all the time.
I'm fidgeting.
I love to fidget.
That's why that number 2 red ball is there.
Yeah,
because
I have to
Yeah.
squeeze it.
he
Oh,
has to
good.
squeeze
Yeah.
it. He
Abby, you need a
fidgets.
squeezy ball. There's one right there. Look.
Yeah.
We want to squeeze. There.
There you
Any-
go.
It keeps
Should've
me
been
calm.
Yes. Any fidgets keeps everyone calm when they're frustrated.
Christine, what was that like for you when she first started talking?
good. The capacity of people with autism is so different. And so I always think of Abby on manual. You know, I have a son. He's only 19 months younger. And so I thought I was doing something wrong. Like I must be at fault. I think all parents feel that when there's something different. And then when my son came around, I was like, oh, this is why people have kids, because I didn't do anything. He just was on autopilot and she was on
Since
manual.
Ben has ADHD.
and everything had to be taught.
Yeah.
So there were miracles, and there have been miracles, you guys. Like I can't even. She was 9, and she learned how to. You learned how to tie your shoe. Remember how long it took for us for the bilateral coordination of that?
9 years.
Cried my eyes out. Took 2 years of like constant daily
By
thing.
the way, Mom.
Cried, and I also cried when she sang at the Greek Theater on Saturday night in front of 6,000 people.
Also-
So
Wow,
like they're
yeah.
all like
Yeah.
miracles.
I wonder if since Ben has ADHD, should he join Epic?
Well, that's a whole different topic, Abs.
I'm sorry.
What's
That's
Epic?
okay.
Epic is a theater program for neurodivergent people. And I have a big cabaret on the 30th. In 2 days, the big cabaret.
Do you get nervous to sing in front of all those people?
No, not
You
really.
don't?
I get
Wow,
excited.
you're
You can
so
tell. You
brave.
can tell
That
you're very confident and very good at it, and that's very cool.
Thanks.
What about Saturday night? What you just did?
Saturday night, I sang an original song at the Greek Theater.
Wow, that's you know how like important that is. That Greek theater is very famous. Like
It is?
it's iconic.
they do not let most people do that.
They don't?
No,
Mm-mm.
they would never let me do that.
Who else sang on the
For
stage
sure.
with you at a different part of the show?
Billy Idol.
Really?
Yes, and who? Do you know who closed the show?
No.
Neil Young.
Wow.
Just saying.
That's very big deal.
Wow, that's a
Abby.
really big deal. David, how did that feel for you to like be able to support Abby in that way when she's doing something so big?
I supported her by watching her sing.
Did you give her a standing ovation and start clapping and standing when she finished?
Yes.
What's an ovation?
When everyone stands
Yeah.
up and everyone's clapping.
Wow.
6,000 people's a lot of people.
It was crazy.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Like I
Oh,
can't
I
even
bet.
believe it because we started music therapy, like she said, she could sing before you could talk. And you said, what did you say about music? You said, when I'm singing,
My autism goes away and I feel more like an average person.
and then what happens?
Comes back once I'm done.
You want to sing some more?
I should rest my voice, but any more questions?
David, what's your favorite thing about Abby?
She's as sweet as all of my favorite desserts. I love her. I love her personality. She's funny and smart and sweet and lovely and beautiful all at the same time.
Wow.
Abby, what's your favorite thing about David?
My favorite thing about David is that he's very kind and patient with me. He makes my stuffed animals talk and he covers my ears when there's a certain noise I don't like.
Do you know what noises she doesn't like?
Baby's crying.
And I told her to use her noise canceling headphones when that happens. And I help her keep a distance from that.
Yeah.
That way she'll never hear such a thing at all.
Yeah.
Christine, I got a question for you. You know, we live in a time right now where there's just been a lot more awareness about autism. And I think as a result, now you've seen a lot more diagnoses about autism. Autism in general has even become politicized and things like that. As someone who's like dedicated her whole life to obviously raising your daughter, like what are your thoughts on the heightened awareness and like what seems to be like self-diagnosing going online and things like that? You know, I've even gone to the neurodivergent website and I've taken some of those tests and it seems like I have certain things with my brain that seem to like I could diagnose myself.
Yeah.
Do you see that as heightened awareness and like a good thing overall, or do you have like a different opinion about that topic?
You know, I come from 26 years of different, and it was severe. Like the preschool called and said, your kid can't come here anymore. And I'm like, you're wrong. Everything's fine. So I came in the opposite way. Look, I've learned so much about this, and there's definitely been an expansion of the diagnosis, and that's a good thing. And if you're asking questions about your neurology, something probably is going on. My brother had sensory issues, undiagnosed his whole life, because even today, you have to be diagnosed autistic to really get any help for sensory processing disorder. It's not like
Wow.
really its own thing. You can't get it and then get services or help. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the umbrella has expanded, and that's great. Nobody should suffer. I currently mentor a kid with severe ADHD. We were talking, 5 hours a week. I just did it because he's a friend's son and he's really struggling, 27, and we're diagnosing his neurology, and he's ADHD, but it's so severe, I can see the impact in his life. And it's so sad there's not services for people that don't show external symptoms. It's internalized.
Mhm.
That's a whole population. That population does not cross over with this population. This is different. This is like massive interventions, diagnosis at young, countless thousands and thousands of hours that I've spent in therapy rooms talking with different things. And she went to an autism school. She's still in speech. I'm still learning, like all that sort of stuff. So A lot of people who have low support needs, these are the people with internalized struggles, will say, we don't need to have categories of autism. It's just autism. And I would say the problem with that is then how do you create a treatment plan to help someone? How do you do that? There's so many young parents that reach out to me and say, what do I do? Da, da, da. And I have to say, are they talking? Are they in school? Are they engaging? Are they learning? Are they engaged? Because Abby, when you were young, she did not engage in the world. She was completely isolative. And we had to do certain therapies to bring her out. But ours was obvious. So how do you help people? And the profoundly autistic community, I'll tell you what, I sat in a support group when she was little and adorable and sweet and isolative. And I heard a mom cry over the fact that she had to choose putting her 13-year-old son in a facility forever because she couldn't handle him anymore, because it was that profound autism. And I'll never forget sitting there watching the tears of her and her husband having decided to do this. She was, and I felt like this was a parent support group when you were young. And I was so moved by that woman. I still remember her face. I still remember her sitting in the chair. And I thought, I don't have that. I'll never know what that's like. And so to honor everybody, I think we need better language to help people so that we can create supports for the internalized autism, the communication disorder autism, the profound autism, but
even nonverbal autism.
That could be part of profound autism. Those parents have
What
a
does
struggle.
nonverbal mean?
Well, some people are non-speaking and some people are nonverbal.
What do you mean by internal autism?
Well, internalized autism or neurodivergency, we could use the word Asperger's up till 2013. And then a bunch of psychiatrists got together.
And
they said,
I
you know
would
what?
come home and say, I have Asperger's.
You used to want to say I have Asperger's.
Why?
Because you knew that in general, people that have a neurodivergent condition or Asperger's didn't have massive speech delays, usually.
How come I didn't say I have no speech delay?
Well, you were angry because there was an Asperger class at her school, and those kids had a slightly different treatment plan. They were educated differently.
I used to say, I wish I had Asperger's and I wish I had brown eyes.
That's all kind of jealousy and sadness, right?
Yeah, because you know why I wanted brown eyes? Because they're the most common eye color.
You wanted to feel accepted.
You wanted to fit
Yeah.
in?
But then in 2013, think about she's 15 years old. We had friends that were diagnosed with Asperger's, and all of a sudden we couldn't say it anymore. But they had skills she only dreamed of having. So you see, that's why it's confusing for us. We want to respect everyone.
If I had
We want
Asperger's,
to
I would
love
probably
everyone.
have brown eyes.
I'm trying to create HR policy in companies to address the needs of neurodivergent employees. Like have a manual. If your colleague is
I
neurodivergent,
wish it was
they need a sensory break. They might be amped up. If the fire alarm goes off, they're going to need 20 minutes to reacclimate because that noise is going to startle them and dysregulate their nervous system. But that doesn't necessarily exist in a lot of companies. So I'm trying to, that's not my population, but we have a lot of friends that are in that population, and then I have people I follow who have the profound autism and tell you, those moms are my heroes. I'm nothing compared to that mom because they're really dealing with some life-changing circumstances. So there's good in it. I just hope the language gets better and that people can come together in love instead of the wildfires of TikTok,
For sure.
which is not pretty.
Yeah.
I try
Or
not to
productive.
get, oh boy, it's not pretty. But I will tell you, I do it for the parents. I get messages from around the world. Look, California's a generous state. We have a lot of resources. Not everyone has access to that. And so I try to just share what I've learned and what I've done to help other people. That's it.
Abby, what do you hope being on the show teaches people?
That there are many different levels of autism. The kind of autism I have is a communication disorder, which means I had a speech delay. And I'm sure there are some people with autism who have no speech delay, perfect language. That's what I've always wanted. But now as an adult, I feel more like Asperger's, more as a grown-up.
Wow.
Well, I felt more Asperger's more like a teen, but more typical as an adult to
And-
me in my case.
And you're saying that because you felt like you could have conversations with people in ways that you couldn't
Yes.
before.
Yes. But when I was a teen, life wasn't easy or hard. It was medium.
Okay.
It was medium. Was it in the middle?
What do you think?
I think it was in the middle.
And how is life for you today?
Easiest.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, life was hard.
It was.
What's the thing that frustrates you the most about neurotypical people?
Like whenever, I don't know, because they have better language.
Okay.
And I used to call typical girls mermaids
Okay.
because mermaids felt isolated and
What do you
alone.
feel when they're having conversations?
Sadly, like when Ben and Mary are having a conversation.
How do you feel?
Left out.
Because why?
Because it feels like I'm in my own world in La La Land.
So like your mom said, that's more like envy. But do people ever do anything that just kind of makes you mad or like
I
that
don't
you
know.
think is
Like if I
stupid?
see Mary taking care of herself, I pretend to take care of herself.
Okay.
That's kind of like still a self-awareness of not being able to
Yeah.
facilitate what your
Mhm.
brain is telling you to do. And that's been always a thing. For us, it's like literally a neurological disconnect. And some days you're a rock star and like it's
But
insane,
it's
like
like in that
Saturday
movie
night.
Inside Out when anxiety took over joy.
Mm.
Have you seen Inside Out too?
No.
I saw it 3
Sierra
times.
has.
I'm a
At
big
the
Disney
theater.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm with you there.
Do you love your blue eyes now?
Yes, they are a blessing in disguise. But if
They're
they're
very
brown and
pretty.
blue mixed together, I call them hazel eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Kelly Clarkson song.
Yeah.
Just like the Kelly Clarkson song.
Our daughter has blue eyes, and we
Oh.
love them. Yeah.
I have brown eyes, and honestly, I never liked them.
You have brown eyes and you have brown eyes and your daughter
I
has
have brown
blue
eyes too.
Our moms have blue eyes.
Mhm.
And Abby's brother was born and he did not have blue eyes. I was like, wrong, baby. Take him away.
And also, can I tell her about the gesture from childhood and explain it?
If
Yeah,
you want
please.
to, if they're interested.
When I was little, when I was a kid.
Now, this is because you couldn't get words out.
Yeah.
So instead of actually having words, Abby came up with some amazing gestures instead. Show us.
Okay.
This is what it looks like.
Snake.
When she was mad, that's people.
That's what
That's what
you
you
would
would
do
do
when
when
you're
you're
Stick out
mad.
your tongue.
You'd have to stick out.
Yes.
So when you're mad,
Yes.
okay. What else? What about happy?
This is a snake.
And also, I shouldn't do the crazy.
Well, when you don't like people.
Doop.
What was that one? You don't like
how
them, you're
people do
flicking
the
them
squishy
away?
head
Yeah.
thing?
Oh yeah.
You know,
Oh,
people don't like
yeah.
that. That's why
Yeah.
out of the blue, she just was like mad at someone and she just looked at them and kind of eyed them.
Started
and then took her
squishing
finger
their
and went,
head. What
and
did
I was like, that's brilliant.
Abby, when you do this, when was the last time you did this? Do you remember
Out of
why?
probably a baby crying, I went, doop.
Is there a feeling you have a harder time understanding than others?
There's many different emotions. I like in that movie Inside Out.
That's been a tremendous help for you. Why don't you talk about
Tell me-
Inside Out was
yeah.
and Inside Out 2, anxiety took over joy.
Okay, what did that mean? What did that mean to you?
And Riley says, I'm a good person. And Riley says, I'm not good enough. And we see all of Riley's memories of from when she was younger. There were these new emotions. She had to put the new emotions away. She had to push them away.
Like what? What emotions did she have to push away?
Anxiety, envy, embarrassment, and ennui.
And then what emotions did she bring in?
Joy. That's the new one. Sadness, anger, disgust, and fear. Those are the main characters.
She really learned a lot from that movie. I'd say the hardest thing for this kind of autism is understanding emotions, their feelings, and then putting words to those feelings. Abby's a Gestalt language learner, which I found out on TikTok. I thought it was some like fake thing, and then I really started looking at it. It's been around for a couple decades, but it's not incorporated in the fabric of speech. But it's learning language through lived experience. So understanding that if something happens, like a dog barks and you get startled, you know, that feeling of like,
Mhm.
that's not a
The
great
big
feeling.
ones do that to me.
Yeah, I
That's how I
know.
got startled.
Dogs
Mm.
can.
Yeah.
And
then
what would I
she'd
do when I
say-
hear a dog barking?
But you just didn't like it. But you would then you would say, instead of saying I'm startled, you'd say the dog's barking whenever she felt startled.
I also would call it the dog. I'd call it nuzzle.
You'd make because you'd be mad at the dog, but it's really the feeling
I call
of
the
startled.
dog barking nuzzle, and I call a cat hissing at me sizzle. Who are they from?
The
That's from a
puzzle
show.
place.
But they're
I-
puppets.
Every time I watch the puzzle place, same goes for Barney and Friends, and they deserve to go to Walt Disney World for the entire summer. Speaking of Disney World, if I go there, I want to do the Animal Kingdom.
We got to get you to the zoo immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
What
I
would
like
Leon say as an animal noise?
roar like a lion.
We took
He'd roar
we
like a
took our
lion.
daughter River to the zoo not too long ago.
River.
Yeah.
Her
What
name
kind
is
of
River.
zoo?
It was just like a regular zoo, but she got to pet a kangaroo.
Oh yeah, from Australia.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is there like a dream animal besides a lion to see in person?
There's an elephant and the hippo, the rhino, the crocodile,
You
the
have a
cheetah,
lot.
the leopard, the hyena, the cape buffalo, the wildebeest, the gazelle, the zebra, the giraffe,
All of them.
and even the hornbill, the meerkat, the warthog, and the mandrill.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of animals.
You know what? Every time I hear a dog bark, I'm going to have to tell the dog, I'm calling Cruella DeVille. Come and get you.
Oh,
Ooh, that'll
that's a
tell 'em.
visual memory reference.
Yeah.
And speaking of Cruella DeVille, Mary, my cousin, was dressed up as Cruella DeVille. one year on Halloween during COVID.
Wow.
What'd you think about that?
It was just her costume.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the day I go to the San Diego Zoo to get a new membership pass with Aubrey.
You remember the day?
Yes.
What was the date?
2020. October 31st, 2020.
Would you ever want to work at a zoo? Or do you just want to open up your own animal?
I might open up my own wildlife sanctuary, and it's going to be the world's biggest zoo on Earth.
Wow.
It comes with the aquarium.
Wow.
Remember the zoo we just went to? That was kind of cool. Private zoo. Remember what it was called? Abby, remember the zoo?
Moore Park Zoo. And guess what? I have to tell you something. I know it's going to be a little inappropriate.
Well,
That's
then
okay.
probably.
I know what? I saw the lion's testicles.
What?
I saw the lion's penis.
That makes them
lions
that's what
don't wear
makes them
pants.
a
And
male.
speaking of that word, there's this funny scene in the Simpsons movie where Bart Simpson was skateboarding naked, and there was this restaurant. This guy was eating French fries, and he says, "Boys, before we eat, don't forget to thank the Lord for this bountiful penis." Bountiful penis. Amen.
Do you think dirty jokes are more funny than non-dirty jokes?
Dirty jokes are pretty funny.
Why are they funny? Because they almost because it's like, what is that feeling you're feeling when you're telling a dirty joke?
It's pretty funny.
Oh, you guys. Y'all are silly. Y'all have
Like
good
the
jokes.
white Persian cat I used to have. I first saw him when I was during the time I was born.
The cat?
Yes, he's like a goofiest brother to me. I mean, his hair looked like a lion.
Oh, Abby,
Oh, you got
remember
him
that?
cut like
Yeah.
that?
What was his name?
Baby Oliver, what would you say if I saw there was a white Persian cat in my backyard?
This is where I'll be like, "Hi, baby Oliver."
And what would you say during when I'm walking my dog and there's a King Charles Spaniel?
Hi, silly little baby. I only talk to those animals with my high pitched voice. And
There was
those
a
are
King Charles
hilarious.
Spaniel and Underdog played by Amy Adams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wait, Abby, what's your favorite voice that David does for your stuffed animals?
I love you, I love you, I love you. You do it.
I love you, I love you, I love you.
Well, how does Romeo laugh?
You know now he's gonna make me say that tonight to her.
Stop.
Why did I laugh?
You're the one who's kissing his belly. That's why he was laughing.
Now he's gonna make me say that now to her.
I will.
It's because Romeo's
I
so
will.
cute.
I will.
Thanks for the interview.
Thank you so
very
much for the
It was
interview.
so great to get to know you guys.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
We hope
Thank
to see
you.
you
Thank
soon.
you, Abby and David. So much fun. Well,
Love-
aren't they the sweetest?
They're so sweet. I love them. And I'm so glad that her mom came. She seems just like such a wonderful woman.
What I took from that show, and I would appreciate so much about the entire cast of Love on the Spectrum, they're such a great example of how we should operate in our interpersonal relationships, because they really seem happy.
Also, the fact that Abby was nonverbal for so much of her life and now she's singing in front of massive crowds and on national television is just so magical. And I'm so happy for her and love both of them.
Next up, we have the host of the new hit show on Netflix, Battle Camp. We recently had Georgia Hasarati on, one of the stars of Battle Camp. Taylor, I've been a fan of his for a while now. He has a hit podcast as well, Bussin' with the Boys. He's a former NFL superstar, very good at his craft back in the day. Also incredibly funny. It was great getting to know him. He tells a very heartwarming story about how he met his wife. I thought he gave just like really great sound advice about just being a husband, a father. I think Jesse could like take a note or two from Taylor Lewan.
Yes, if Jesse
about-
was listening
Yeah,
to our recap of the Valley, I hope he is staying tuned.
Yeah, stay,
to-
Jesse. If you are listening, or if your team's listening, stay tuned. You know, stick around for Taylor Lewan. He really charming guy, really funny. You will all enjoy his story about just like talking about his wife, meeting his wife, being a father, and obviously his experience as a host on Battle Camp. And that is up next. Hey, ladies and men out there, if your man in your life has been walking around a little stinky, Cremo is the new all-natural deodorant that everyone's been raving about, including my armpits. We know that your traditional deodorant, there's a lot of toxic stuff in there, people. I've been allergic to deodorant since as long as I can remember. And it's also very hard to find an all-natural deodorant that works. Well, that's why I have been so excited to find Cremo.
Cremo's professionals meticulously design their products to provide 48-hour protection in appealing scents that set men apart from the crowd. You can elevate your guy's deodorant experience with Cremo's 2 latest signature scents, Italian Bergamot and Palo Santo. And thank God Nick put it on this morning because it is all I am smelling, and boy, does it smell delicious. I'm about to jump them right now.
Ladies, you know you like going to Target, and if you do, make sure to stop by and pick up your man some Cremo deodorant. Head to Target or Target.com to find Cremo's new line of antiperspirants and deodorant in the Italian Bergamot and Palo Santo scents. Once again, that's Target or Target.com. Well, once again, you guys know I'm on that health kick because I want to make sure I can take care of my family for as long as possible. And that's where Function Health has been a great ally for me to feel like I'm doing just that. Function Health is an all-in-one platform that starts with over 100 advanced lab tests covering your entire body: heart, hormones, liver, kidneys, thyroid, autoimmunity, cancer signals, toxins, nutrients, and more. Set up an account, sign up in 5 minutes, and complete a simple questionnaire to personalize your clinical notes.
Function Health is all about taking control of your health through data. Instead of guessing what's happening inside your body, Function helps you know for sure, providing access to 100+ advanced lab tests. These tests include insights into thyroid function, hormones, liver health, heart health, autoimmunity, kidney function, nutrient levels, heavy metal toxicity, immune system, electrolytes, and more.
Incredibly accessible and affordable at $4.99 annually. The membership includes the cost of 100+ lab tests through their nationwide lab partner. There are over 2,000 locations nationwide, making it accessible to a wider audience, and compared to traditional healthcare costs that could reach up to $15,000 for the exact same test.
It doesn't matter how old you are. Health is universal. Function Health is for anyone who wants to understand their body better and make informed decisions for a longer, healthier life. Function currently has a wait list, but they're offering our audience the chance to skip it. Head to functionhealth.com/VIALL or enter code VIALL when signing up to skip the wait list.
Taylor, welcome to the show.
Hey, happy to be here, guys. Electrostatic, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, here we
Fantastic
go.
stuff. I love the backstory we're getting and everything.
Yeah, it's,
Fired up to be here.
I don't know if you remember, I hit you up a couple years back, and I was like, when I first started the show, and I was talking to my friend Rachel Lindsay, and I was like, I was always looking for like random people who I thought were funny, good on camera, and watch a little reality TV. And for whatever reason, she's like, you got to look up this guy named Taylor. He used to play for the Titans. And then I hit you up and you kindly wrote back, and then like we just never reconnected. But it's good to find, I felt like full circle.
That sounds like a textbook me situation.
It's so nice that you're finally interested in us.
Yeah, this is the time. This is the time to finally do it. I honestly, like, I literally was talking to somebody at Bussin at the shop earlier, and they're like, yeah, I texted you about this, but you never texted back. I'm a standard no text back. I'll get into the middle of a conversation, like an ADD guy, where you just dive in, and then all of a sudden.
Have you always been like that, or did like
Always.
having kids make it worse? Because I feel
That's
like
a great
I've
question.
been awful since having a baby. I'll be like, oh, read that, and then she does something, and I never look at it again.
I probably need to evaluate a little bit more, because I definitely I don't think I'm very forgetful sometimes. And then my wife will just remind me of all these other things I said I was going to do or didn't do, or like was in the middle of a sentence and just walked away. And then I play like the CTE game in my head. Like, you did take a lot of hints. Like, it could be something. You never know. So maybe it's time to do a little look in the mirror, a little reevaluation of how I handle myself from a conversation standpoint.
How many years you play for?
Played for 9. But 9 sounds terrible.
Why?
Like, I really, because 10
Want that
sounds
full decade?
10 sounds like
Yeah.
so I
Real
think one of my New Year's resolutions was to say that, to start lying to people's faces and say 10. And I did that one time, and I felt terrible about it. Hey, listen, it was 9.
So you sound like a guy like lying about his age on a dating app.
Yeah, exactly. And so 9, same team in Nashville, and it was awesome, dude. Like
same team. That's rare in the NFL. Dude.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be a part of like a culture like Tennessee, because we were just terrible. We were like 2-14 my first year, 3-13 the next year. And I remember calling a guy named Michael Roos, who played left tackle before me. And I'm like, dude, how did you do this for 10 years? Because he was a 10-year guy. And he's like, if you just win, it gets a whole lot better. And then we started rattling off 9-7, started going to the playoffs, went to the AFC Championship one year. So it was really cool to be a part of something like Nashville, where when your team is good, the rallying is just unbelievable. It is awesome. It's awesome to be a part of.
And then, like, how did you transition? Like, you have Bussin' with the Boys, a very popular podcast. Obviously, you guys talk a lot about football, but I feel like you guys kind of get into like just kind of life and outside. But like, you seem to have like a natural knack, and obviously you're hosting Battle Camp for Netflix, but like you seem to have like a natural knack for entertainment. Did you a lot of like trajectory for like football players who have that skill set that you have, they end up like covering football, working for ESPN or working for one of the networks and things like that. How did you end up doing what you're doing, where you found yourself hosting a reality TV show like Battle Camp?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a big question.
Yeah, sorry.
Because there's so much there to unpack. Dude, so the way first off, the way Bustin' started was just Will Compton and I. Like, Will was on the team formerly known as the Redskins, and then they became the Commanders, obviously. He went from there in 2018, signed with the Titans. And then our love over like Joe Rogan, The Fighter and the Kid, like a bunch of podcasts, that was just like kind of like we had a little breakfast club. Basically, you sit before practice, you bitch about how hard the practice is going to be, you like laugh about how horrible your life is, even though you're playing in the NFL. Then you go do it. Well, that was kind of like our little camaraderie. And then at the end of the year, we're playing the Colts for a win and get in game, and we get donkey stomped by the Colts, like 31-3. It was over. And then we got a little banged up, go to a Chinese buffet restaurant, and he's like, I want to start a podcast, but I feel more comfortable if you do it with me. And at the time, there was no active NFL players or active athletes really doing a podcast at all. So it was very like new, uncharted territory. But the state I was in, and Will being my boy, and I just signed a contract that gave me some sort of stability in Nashville for the foreseeable future. It was kind of became an easy choice. So we started it up, and that kind of goes into the entertainment thing where I've always loved the idea of entertainment, and I thought it was only like simply like acting or music. And I know a lot of music. I know a lot of like lyrics of songs, but your boy can't really sing like that. I do a decent Kip Moore, but other than that, it's kind of like out the window. And the whole acting thing I was like interested in for a little bit, but then it just seemed like it's not exactly, it doesn't like do it for me the way I really thought it would kind of do it for me. And so
did you try it at all and kind of get a sense of that?
I've done a couple of things. I'm doing something this summer that I don't know if I can really talk about. There's a guy who's in a band.
Okay.
He is also a writer with his brother, and they wrote a script. It got greenlit. It's getting produced, the whole thing. And so he's got a guy who's doing, a big actor who's going to play the main. And he's like, I really want you to play this part in this country Western movie. So I'm like going to go up and I'm going to do it for him. And I've done a couple of things. I was on like, have you seen The League?
Yeah.
So The League of season 6, episode 1.
Okay.
Not a big deal. IMDb, check me out.
34 minutes and 27 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Opening scene.
All right, there we
Opening
go.
scene. It's right in there.
Okay.
But I loved the idea of it more than I think I loved it. And so when this podcast thing came up, like at first I was like, I'm doing it, but I'm very insecure about what are people going to think? What are people going to do? And then you start to realize that basically whatever I say on this podcast right now, in 24 hours, it's not going to matter anymore. Like it's just getting the whole media cycle. So you feel a little more loose, a little more comfortable about being yourself. Maybe trying, if you have a joke in your head, working out that joke, like finding different things and then joining Barstool, kind of open up that world in a crazy way to where it's like, you see the way Dave Portnoy and Dan Katz and KFC, the way they operate. So that was awesome. But when it came to like entertainment after football, I took some meetings with like MSNBC, ESPN, and a couple of things about like maybe doing some broadcasting work. But the thought of like just being a football guy forever, when there's so many different lives to live, there's so many different things to do, it felt more restricting to me than anything else. Like I love football. I love the X's and O's. I love sitting there and talking to guys about the process of the game. That is awesome. But it's like, I don't want that to be everything that I do. And I want to like dive into being a dad. Like Will, he has 2 little girls. I have 2 little girls. Like it's just, there's so many different lives to live. So for me, it's like, how do I somehow be the best dad possible while doing the most things possible as well to kind of figure out what this whole life thing's all about?
How do you balance all of that?
It's an incredible amount of intention. I can't say that I've been good at it my whole life. I think I've gotten a whole lot better in recent years. But like with football, there's a level of like, I don't know if it's like narcissism is the right word, but like definitely main character syndrome that takes place when you play football or play a sport at a high level.
A little pick me.
Yeah. So it's always like, it's about me. It's about my recovery. It's about my nutrition. It's about my sleep. And I need to perform at the best I can. Because when I go play on Sundays, it's like, not only am I protecting somebody that's worth a lot of money, I'm getting paid a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And there's the battle of egos. There's all these different things, these fans watching. That Twitter search bar haunts you. It's just haunting you and staring at you. You don't want to let down people. You want to prove the haters wrong. And so you have like this vicious cycle of, it's really all about me all the time. And it takes a very strong woman to kind of pull you out of that. And my wife, Taylor, we met, and in 5 weeks we're engaged, married in 2 months.
Oh shit!
It was very, very quick. It was after my second season in the league.
How did y'all meet?
We've been married for 9 years. What's that?
How'd y'all meet?
Dude, it's a crazy story. She was in Leapers Fork, Tennessee, and I won't take your entire time with the story, but I'll give you the spark notes.
My audience loves shit like this.
Yeah. So my wife, she was in Leapers Fork, Tennessee. and she ended up being friends with my mom first. And anytime I would come around, because I was dating somebody else, anytime I would come around, my mom would tell Taylor, my wife, like, don't speak to Taylor, because if you do, he's gonna fall in love with you. So I'd always like see this incredibly hot girl, like always with my mom. And my mom would be like, hey, what do you think of Taylor? I'm like, she's a rocket, but she doesn't speak. The girls are damn mute.
Yeah.
And we started, like, I was running like 3 or 4 times. And then finally I met her for real when I was in my house that I just bought. And my mom like fancies herself an interior designer. So we're talking about this accent well, like distressed barn wood. Should we put it there? Blah, blah, blah. And she pulls up and we just talk for 3 hours. And I started hitting with questions like, well, if you lived here, what would you do? Well, this, blah, 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 all these different things. And 3 days later, I see her at Loser's Bar. And I'm like, hey, I can't believe I had this connection with you. I've never felt like this in my entire life. Like, I need to like see where this goes. And we end up going to LA, spending 6 days there, go to San Francisco for 6 more days, drive down to Arizona, which is where I'm from. And then she comes back to Nashville. And then we're talking for a little bit. And I'm like, she's like, I miss you. And I was like, oh, well, I miss you too. But if you come back, you're not leaving. And she came back and I was waiting with a ring. So I proposed to her right there. And I had this
How old
big,
were you?
I was, so what was I? I got in the NFL at 21. So I was about to turn 23,
Okay.
Wow.
about to turn 24. I had this like big elaborate plan. She's from British Columbia, Canada. And I was going to get on a plane, go see her dad and her mom, who I've not met yet, by the way, and like ask for her hand in marriage, all these different things. I go with a passport card, and the airport people at the airport are like, this is not a passport. Like, you need an actual passport. I'm like, no, it's a card. It works just fine.
Explaining the
Like,
customs
let's
terminal.
driving or by sea. And so I got shut down. Her dad calls me and he's like, hey, I understand what you're trying to do. You have my blessing, blah, blah, blah. And so I was just waiting with the ring. And she always like, I want to go to Iceland with the person I spend the rest of my life with. So I was like, booking a trip to Iceland. We're going to do this. I basically got on my knee in the kitchen and she sat on my knee. And then as a joke, we're back in Nashville a couple months later. And it was like right around 420. And we're like, why don't we get married on 420? So we went to some chapel somewhere in Nashville. I could not get you there to this day. And we got married. Found a guy online that was like a 24-hour service. He popped up. We didn't have like wedding bands, so we used like hay straw.
Wow.
And we've been married
Damn.
for 9 years now. Just celebrated our 9th year anniversary.
That's so beautiful.
We just celebrated our first anniversary.
Congratulations.
A week
Congratulations
after
on
y'all.
that.
Yeah.
We're 427.
Incredible. Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
We could do a joint anniversary party
there
next
it
year.
is.
Any,
Yeah,
any, guy-
absolutely.
any like keep the spark alive tips?
Buddy, no.
Especially coming from someone though who like you have been so busy your whole relationship. You know, you've had this illustrious career in football that's taken, like you just said, like a lot of your time. How did you like stay connected and manage like a healthy relationship through all that?
I think because of the whole like thing I talked about, like the main character syndrome and all of that, like I was so focused and the reason why this kind of story began was it takes a really strong woman to pull you out of that is my wife was incredibly intentional about being nurturing to myself and my career. And I had a whole bunch of bag of issues, like, different things from like childhood traumas that we all have. And we all want to talk about how bad our lives were when we were younger and look how much we've overcome. And Taylor did a great job of like acknowledging all those things while also being like, you need to kind of, if you want to be a better person, like you have to proactively go about these things to be a better person. You can't just be like, I want to be a better person.
Yeah.
Because your boy, like 100%, before I met Taylor, I was in the streets. I was out there ripping
He was a
around a little too
dog.
hard. Yeah, I was out there boozing, getting crazy, staying up too late, all those different things. And so meeting her, it was like, oh, that's the type of girl I didn't even know existed. So if I want that type of girl, I need to elevate myself as a man to achieve, being with someone like this. And so when it comes to like keeping a spark alive, it's just, dude, every day it's, my wife, like she loves words of affirmation, acts of service, like kind of all the love languages. She loves them all. And I mean that, yeah. And I mean that as a positive because it's like, there's so many ways to scratch that itch for her to feel loved. And it's about not only me scratching those itches for her, but her telling me as well, like, hey, I need this from you. And being like, there's not one person in this world that is a better communicator than Taylor Gallagher. She is so great at communication, breaking down process. Even when we get in arguments, and that shit pisses me off because she does a great job of like arguing my side and be like, and her
Better
side.
than you.
And breaking
Yeah.
it
You're
down.
supposed to be the
And I'm
logical
like, you
one,
think
yeah.
you're so fucking smart. I don't know if we can curse on the show.
You can swear.
But yeah, we don't know if you're so fucking smart, blah, blah, blah. Because I'm this big dumb football player that's like all brute force, like can't use big words like Taylor does. But it's literally an honor to be with this girl. It's an honor to be with this woman. It's an honor to have kids with her. There was a lot of other girls like that were great people that treated me right that I didn't necessarily wasn't like mature enough for. But like something about Taylor like snapped me out of it where I was like, oh shit, like that's the path. And that is the only path for me. So it's been awesome.
Oh yeah, man, that's a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, dude.
It's like you know, I came from reality TV and Bachelor world, and the haters can be pretty brutal online. But as a diehard sports fan, I'm fully aware of just like how fucking toxic. Like, and you mentioned earlier, like Twitter and things like that. Like, we have a friend who dated a football player. And
do I know this? Do I probably know this?
Yeah,
football player?
I'll tell you after. And he was and I was just trying to explain to her just like the stakes, and I'm just like, I mean, I'm like, you got all these dads or fans like betting and shit. They got thousands of dollars riding on these games, and they're taking their anger out on these fucking players. And I'm like, it's one thing, and I got it bad as a reality TV star, but like, did you get any like heads up as you got into the league, with social media and like how to deal with that type of like interaction? And like, how did you, because I hear it all the time. Like, it's always a conversation with my peers in the reality TV space of how to deal with trolls and things like that. But honestly, as a sports fan, I never really hear players talk about all that much, or I don't really hear teams or coaches like talking about the impact like social media, which has like taken off over the past 5 or 10 years, like just how much that can fuck up a player's mindset and psyche. Did you deal with that, and how did you deal with that if that was the case? And have you seen other players like crumble under that pressure?
Yes, to all that. Like, being the first off, nothing like all the cons of playing professional sports, the pros outweigh it tenfold. And you have to be aware of that. And like, the social media trolls don't just start when you get to the NFL. It's, I went to the University of Michigan. Okay. Obviously there's Michigan State, there's Ohio State. And at the time, Notre Dame, who we played every single year, like those fan bases want to tell you how much of a piece of shit you are. Your fan base, when you have a bad game, want to tell you how bad of a player you are. And honestly, I hated it. I really did. And I think a lot of players pretend like it does not bother them, but it's the search for validation. And if you live by the cheers, you'll die by the boos. So you go in like, I have a good game. And I'm like, I go type in Taylor Lewan, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I'm looking at, Taylor Lewan's a beast. Oh, that's nice. Yeah. Oh, Taylor Lewan, he's so athletic. Yeah, that's a good feeling too. And then Taylor Lewan sucks. But like, you see all these comments that are positive, and then the one comment, you're like, for whatever reason, it's like cracking your foundation of a person like this. Like, why does this person hate me? What is going on? And you can easily go into that spiral. I think a lot of elite football players or elite athletes, when they do see it, the best ones don't look at it. The best ones don't. But if you do look at it, it's about using it as a chip. Like it's got to be way different for you being on The Bachelor, Bachelorette. Like, when you're like basically searching for this love, and you're showing your personality, you're showing who you are, you're at the mercy of the editors and how they want to display you on the show. All the fine print that you probably had to sign and stuff like that. And then everyone's making a judgment on you and your character. For me, it's like, you're judging me on my athletic ability and my capability to do a job.
That makes sense.
And so that was like difficult for me, because like a lot of football players, if you have them on your show, or a lot of players in general, be like, sports is what I do. It's not who I am. If you play it long enough, it becomes a part of the fabric of your foundation. It really, you like identify with it. You understand football players better. You understand other athletes better. They understand you better. You find the foundation that way, like with friendships. So like, to say it's not who you are is kind of a lie. Like, if you live and breathe it for so long. So when people are commenting on your character and your athletic ability, it makes you feel like shit. What I've noticed in like going into this podcast world and this reality TV world, which I'm so fresh to, like we're 14 days into battle camp or whatever it is that for whatever reason, I've been in this since I was 18 years old, where like people are going to say and correct. And I've been able to like mature and watch and grow and have a family and realize what is important, what's not important. Like, if people go and watch battle camp, for instance, and they're like, the show's great, the host sucks. Well, I don't know. I mean, great. Like, that's your opinion. Like, I had no idea what I was doing for all 30 of those days that we were shooting the show. If I sucked, you're probably right. Like, but the fact that I even got to do it, it's like changing your view from like, I need to be great, to what an experience. And I think that's a lot of things that people like. The reason why they fail or don't do something is the fear of like, not meeting their own expectations and the expectations of others. And if you just go in, you're like, dude, this is just dope. Like, this is just an awesome experience. A lot of times I feel like that'll show in the process.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So how did you end up as the host of Battle Camp? Did you have a strong interest in reality TV as a fan and watched it and like started commenting on it? Like, how did that come to be?
I'm not a huge reality TV guy. I do have a weird thing for Temptation Island. That show is fun.
We have the entire cast here in the other room doing
my wife was telling me last day I was coming to the show, she's like, they just had, because my wife and I just watched the most recent episode or recent season. That we can break that down later because that is crazy what those people have to go through. But I was never really into reality TV. I did see some Bachelor. I was dating a girl before that was into it. Saw you. I thought you had a good showing. Did well out there. Okay. But I don't truly remember. It was a very entertaining show.
He's a fan of your work.
I'm a fan of your work. Sir.
Yes.
Good work out there. And I wasn't pursuing anything from a reality TV standpoint. My agent calls me, my football agent calls me because I didn't have an entertainment agent. I met with a couple of people, like I said, like ESPN and stuff like that, but that's a whole different branch of agencies. And they're like, hey, this company wants you to host a reality TV show, but I know you're busy with busing, like you probably don't want to do it. And I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I don't have time, but like, what's the company? And they're like, Netflix. I was like, what are we talking about? Yeah. I'm going to need to like at least take that. Yeah, exactly. So I go and I take this meeting with a bunch of people. There's this company Thames, who is a production company that is doing Battle Camp, and then a bunch of people from Netflix. And this guy named Rich, who is like one of the head casting people for non-scripted TV. He's on it. He's like watched the show and seen how I like facilitate conversations and all this stuff. And I was like, he brought me to the table essentially. I'm like, hey, we should look into this guy, Taylor Lewan. So I do the interview and they're basically telling me like, hey, you're our guy. We love it. We love your stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Like we would love for you to do this. Kind of felt like, oh, I got this job without even knowing I wanted this job. And then I make a joke about, hey, like if I'm going to do anything, make sure I get to see a script before. Because if you want me to read like out loud the first time, like your boy can, for whatever reason, become dyslexic. Like I like speaking out, reading out loud is the worst for me. I hate it.
I thought my whole life I just like had this, well, it is a problem. I'm dyslexic, but I had no idea until my 30s. And I was like, why can't I fucking read out loud?
Yeah, dude, whenever someone like hands me this, like, hey, read this out loud, like panic sets. Yeah. But if you're like, hey, you need to go speak in front of these people, I have no issue with that at all. It's really just like the reading part. So I didn't know in the entertainment industry, you should never talk about your flaws because we get off, my agents are like, hey, great job. However,
bad idea.
They did not like that. They're worried that you might not be able to do it. So they're going to send you a script and you have to do a read for them now. So I get the script. It's like 4 or 5 pages long. And I'm like, I'm just going to learn this entire script verbatim. So I do the read for them. I'm very nervous. I was more nervous doing that script read than I was the entire shoot of Battle Camp. But we do it. They like it. And they're like, all right, you're our guy, which was awesome. And then they send this lady from LA, Alita Gillian, who's like this host coach. She's like, anytime someone's like hosting something for the first time, she like goes wherever you are and she like kind of like immerses you in it. And it is awesome. Like she is unbelievable. Like where I live in Nashville, I have 13 acres. We have this cabin that was like from 1799 that we like redid. It was like a hospital in the Civil War.
Hell yeah.
Alita stayed there. And for 3 days, we're like walking around my house and my property. And we're like, she's talking to me. She's like, all right, start reading the script. I start doing the script. She's like, stop. And now they're going to move cameras. And then when you get there, hey, they're going to have a script for you. Don't even learn the script because they're going to rewrite the script 5 times before you even do it. And then X, Y, and Z. So she was running me through all the things so I knew exactly what was going to happen when I got there. And then when I got to Mexico, like it's like 45 to an hour outside of Mexico City, things just started happening. Like the first 24 hours, I was like, oh shit, like Alita said all these things were going to happen. And they did. So the level of comfort that she gave me, just kind of feeling like I've done it 1,000 times before, was awesome. And it was a very, very cool experience.
Speaking of your incapability to read, do your kids like, I know when Nick reads to River, I'm always like, I'm so sorry, honey. This is rough. I know you're trying to pay attention, but it's hard.
Dude,
do your kids kind of call you out and be like, Dad, what?
They don't.
Okay,
Thank
good.
God. My 7-year-old Wynn, she's obsessed with Harry Potter right now. So we're like reading the Harry Potter books. We'll do like a chat. At one point, we're doing a chapter a night. But then, boys, I tell you, you'd like book 4.
That's a long.
Yeah, it's like 40 pages. I'm over there be like, it's 10:30. So we gotta go to asleep. But I'll read to her, and I laugh to myself because I'm like, we have obviously a camera in her room that you can watch.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself sometimes, I wonder if Taylor's watching this right now and just laughing to herself how stupid I sound.
She totally is.
Yeah, she's got to be. But basically, my 7-year-old and I we're on the same reading level at this point. Like she's a much better reader than me. She's much more put together. They do not call me out though. I love it.
They say dyslexic people are, have special skills in other areas, and maybe I don't know what those are, but
I know. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other skills other than blocking people and talking on a microphone. Like so far,
it's worked out so far.
Just being like a zoo animal tall. Like those are my only skills that I really have at this point.
Who did you enjoy on Battle Camp the most getting to know in terms of it pulled from all different, like obviously Netflix shows like Squid Game and like Too Hot to Handle and things like that. But who were you not maybe most impressed by, but who did you feel like really stood out and you enjoyed getting to know?
Early in the show, first off, I thought, and this is such a cliche answer, there was not one person on that show that I did not like. Like all the ins and outs of what happened in camp and the misdirection and the misbehaving. Like I never really knew. I kind of went, I explained the challenges. During breaks, I would talk to them, get to know them, because that made me feel more comfortable as being more personable with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wheel ceremony was when you kind of see everyone's heart rate kind of skyrocket to 160. But I really enjoyed everyone. The person that stood out to me in the beginning was Tony. I thought there's no way this guy's real. Like the way he's operating. Like the first time I met Tony, he walked up to me on a break without even really introducing himself. He goes, "So you play with the Titans, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I played." He goes, "You know that wrinkle on your forehead, like you did a little Botox, you can get that out, no problem." I'm thinking, hey, Tony, what are we doing? What are we talking about, dude? And he, like, the thing I love about Tony is his jokes are terrible. He is, I think he comes off a lot dumber he tries to act dumber than he is, but he's like unapologetically himself. So because he was like so aggressively like wannabe dumb guy, the hot guy, that I like thought to myself, like, this guy's great.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure if you're with him 24/7, he's playing that bit the whole time, it can very much get old. But I there was something about him that was like, I could pepper this guy and kind of like chirp him and have a little fun with him, and he's going to eat it and keep moving forward. Another person that I like who had the most wild outfits out of everybody was Lorenzo.
Yep.
I thought Lorenzo was just, once again, like so different from me in every sense of the word. And he was just like witty and funny and like charismatic. And him and Georgia had this like weird little like romance love thing going on the whole time. And I loved it. But in my head, I'm thinking, you got to split them up. Like if I'm a contestant on the show, you got to get these cats separated and get some votes on them to get them out of there. But they did a great job moving everything around. Love Shuby. I thought he was awesome. I thought he wasn't like very active in the show as far as like from a challenge standpoint, but great vibes guy through and through. One person that impressed me a lot too. Maybe I'll just go through the whole cast, but like Avery, I was impressed by her, and I haven't watched the whole show, but I was impressed how in the beginning of the show, she was so on the wheel from the votes. Everyone's like, hey, she's a strong player. We got to get her out of here. Boom. Then all of a sudden Lexi gets booted. And then Avery kind of just flew under the radar from then on out. Like she was kind of like, no more votes.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever she did, she righted the ship in a big way, which I think strategically had to be a big move on her part. So everyone was awesome. I really enjoyed everybody.
Was there anyone that you like kind of were secretly rooting for to win?
Yeah. I mean, not like, so at the end,
That's a great question.
I wanted Lorenzo to win because I thought Lorenzo did the most from a challenge standpoint. I was also really impressed by Georgia.
Yeah.
Like obviously Georgia's a pretty girl and she's got the accent and like she's fun and she does a great job of like the manipulation process being on the dating shows and stuff like that. But I thought she like really held her own in challenges. And I was like, okay, like it really didn't turn into like who I want to win. It'd be like, who would I be like, I wouldn't be upset about anybody winning. Like Chase to me was like, well, you kind of just got here. So if you won, I don't know if like the viewer themselves would love it that much, even though I thought Chase was a good dude. But like Georgia, Lorenzo, I really thought did a great job. I know Trey like kind of got kicked out towards the end, but I thought Trey like had a shot. He was a little sneaky devil the whole time.
Yeah.
I love your story about Tony because it just reminds me of like why I think fans and why we love reality TV is because you don't necessarily have to be the same type of person or even like want to be their friend, but reality gives you the opportunity to like see people who are unafraid to just be themselves.
Yeah.
And for better or worse. And I think whoever you are, we really like just human beings really respect people who are able to do that because so few of us can. Like so many of us are chameleons and in whatever room we go into and are so afraid of like being welcomed. And you see people who are just like, oh, that's really who you are, man. Like, and then you kind of, you're drawn to that type of authenticity. And I think the best reality TV characters are the ones who kind of can do that, especially if they're on different shows. They show up and they're consistently weird, maybe, but they're consistent.
Yeah, the consistency is a beautiful thing. Like Shoebomb and Tony come to mind when you talk about them. But isn't it funny how as viewers of the show, like I don't know if you guys do this, but even me, like when I watch a reality TV show, which like I said before, I don't watch a whole lot, but when I do, it's like so easy to sit there in your chair and judge.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What are they doing? What an idiot, you know? And it's funny, like when we were with Barstool, we did Surviving Barstool, which is their like spinoff of Survivor. And myself and Will Compton were like contestants in it. It was a 7-day shoot. It was very quick, but psychologically, like where you go in the first 24 hours is actually insane. Like the real world like kind of vanishes before your eyes and you're solely focused on this. It's just crazy. Like kind of the situations that people get put into and how they like they still are themselves, which I'm not 100% sure if that's still Tony. I'm not 100% sure that's actually Tony, but everything I saw the whole time, that was Tony.
That's crazy. That's a great story.
That's wild. Yeah.
Is there any like show that you are a fan of or you're not a fan of that like you would maybe want to host next?
Oh, that's a good question. A show that I would want to host next. You know, like the whole Temptation Island thing. First off, Mark Wahlberg.
Crushes.
He is the GOAT of all hosts.
Yeah.
So I could never take his job ever. Like he's like, like, I don't know if he's actually a therapist, but his background, the way he handles that, he's unbelievable.
It's because there's so many hosts out there that really are reading prompters, you know, they're just there. And then like, I come from Bachelor World and like, you know, love Jesse as a person. He's a great guy. And Chris before him, you know, enjoyed his company too. But it was like, you'd have these chats and they would give you advice. And then it was basically like, that sucks, man. Well, good luck. Get in there. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like Mark seems like he's like truly connected to the people that he cares. He listens to the process. He has a great way of like having you zoom out a little bit and be like, okay, let's focus on what you're doing, not necessarily what they're doing to you. You know, and like that, he does a great job with that. Like if you look at Battle Camp it's a character-driven show. Like I'm really not necessarily needed other than to spin a wheel and to direct people of what to do next in the show. So watching a guy like Mark be able to break down psychologically what these people are going through in a crazy world is something I look at like, that's pretty unbelievable. But as far as like, you know, the reason why I would want to take that job is it shoots in Hawaii. And that's that's a huge dub.
Yeah.
Like, I'm an hour outside of Mexico City, brother. It was
hot.
You were in Mexico City?
It was like, so I stayed in this this hotel called Hotel Americana. And it's basically, I feel like a group got together and like, what do Americans like? And that's basically what there was like KFCs in there, Taco Bells, like Dairy Queens, like there's like a karaoke bar in there. It was genuinely funny to see like how like stereotypical American this hotel was, or like in the craziest way. And I would go and I would drive. It would always be me, Miguel, my driver, Mike, who was like kind of like kept me safe, I guess, even though I don't know if Miguel keep anybody safe. And then Terry, my hair and makeup person, we would always just rip together. And it'd be an hour from Hotel Americana, which was like 20, 30 minutes outside of Mexico City, to like the hills of Mexico. And they built this set in like 6 weeks' time. Wow. So it was a 2-hour drive every single day there and back. It was a lot. It was definitely a lot, but I was still in such a new world that I didn't get like tired of it until like the last 3 days when I knew the end was near and I had a really good grasp on like kind of like, well, everything was going on. But like the show itself, like, because it was so new, like it was just, my head was spinning the entire time.
Wow. Last question before we let you go. It's a little bit of a pivot and slightly I guess maybe a heavier question. I don't know. But hearing you talk about meeting your wife, and it kind of dawned on me, and you have 2 daughters and we have a daughter. I just love the way you talk. I mean, you seem like a really good role model to young men. And I feel like we're living in a time where I feel like there's just a lot of, I think like young men don't have a lot of positive male role models. And as a father of 2 daughters, I wonder if do you ever worry about like the type of men might be available for your daughters to date? And 2, like, do you ever like think about like leaning into that space? Because I love this shit that you say, and I think there's just like a need for like positive male role models in the world today. And is that something that like is it of interest of yours?
I think there's something inauthentic about somebody like trying to be something.
Sure.
Like over and over again, like first
like
off,
a guru,
first off, thank you. Like I'm just gonna take that compliment. I gotta receive that thing because that is awesome. But I will say, like when I talked about like kind of being that guy that, like a fuckboy type of like cat before I met my wife, like I very much was that. And I was very much not a role model. And it took a lot of violence for me to become like this calm and this like, this comfortable in my own skin. So like when you say like you've come off as a role model, to me, it's like, I know like what my early 20s were like and how I was in college and all these different things that it's like almost like difficult for me to handle. And I really do appreciate it. When it comes to like being a role model to people, I think it's just, you have to be authentically yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what breeds like, that's why this show does well. That's why Bussin' with the Boys does well. That's why you see like, a company like Barstool do so well because it's authentic 24/7, whether you like it or not. And if I can authentically be the best version of myself on a consistent basis, then that makes me a good role model. But it only happens through every single day doing it over and over and over again. And that's what like, dude, you have a 15-month-old kid, like your perspective on so many things changes the minute you have a child, especially a girl. And I really think that's a big difference is having a girl, because you realize like, being the guy and being a teenager and knowing that one thing that's always on your mind and how you're acting a certain way. And then you have a daughter and you're like, okay, how do I protect and teach this kid to like sift through the bullshit in a lot of ways? And so like, hopefully my kids are set up for success because it's kind of like my wife's job to show my kids what a strong, independent woman looks like. And then it's my job as a father to show my girls how they should be loved by the way I love their mom. Like that is kind of like the process. And if I do those things and I keep open lines of communication with my kids, because there's a lot of things that you can look up about me on Google that you'd be like, this dude's a fucking bad person. Like in college, I hit this kid after an Ohio State game because he was like trying to rough up my brother. Like, and that's out there. There's a mugshot that's actually out there.
Oh shit.
But it's like, I'm 21, I'm 33 now. It's one of those things. It's like, yeah, my kids are going to ask me questions about that. And I'm going to have some sort of dialogue. Like, yeah, your dad was that type of dude, and then had to change and make corrections when I was like 23, 24. So it's not the most difficult thing in the world to fess up to the bad things you did, but it's like, I feel like it's more difficult to hide. Like act like you're the greatest person ever, act like you've never done anything wrong. Cause for me, it's like, if all my skeletons are out, then I feel so much more comfortable going through life,
I was, my time on reality TV started as like being the most hated guy on TV. And honestly, like I was pretty grateful relative to my peers because I was like, oh, I have nowhere to go but up.
Right.
I was starting from the bottom, like different, obviously, than like the stories you told, but this is more like obviously like a controlled environment. But it's like,
what was that like for you when you were getting such negative feedback?
It was tough.
Did you know that was going to happen when you like started the show?
Not when I started the show, for sure. Like I was definitely like, my goal was to like do anything but be that person. When I first went on, I liked the girl. I was like, oh, fuck, because I definitely wasn't expecting that. I was like, I was just like, if I show up, I'm here, so I'm just going to embrace whatever this fucking is. And I'm going to lean in if I feel something. And I did. There were a couple moments throughout filming where I was like, man, everyone's just fucking yelling at me. I just like, I don't think this is a good thing. And then, as they got done filming, I got a sense, and then the producer was like, oh, no, you're fine. You're fine. And then, like shit like that. And then, pretty early as this season started airing, I was like, oh, I'm fucked.
Because they did it week by week, right? It's not like Netflix where they release it all
was a
once.
week by week, so it was a slow process.
Just a slow process of anxiety building up. And what are they gonna do next week? Okay, now I'm the villain.
Yeah. But I went back to my like regular job at the time. Went right back to work because I was pretty grateful that they let me take a leave. Period. So I went right back to work, which was probably kind of stupid because my head was fucking fried. But I was living in Chicago and I was going out, and hated or not, online or on TV, I'd walk into a bar in Chicago and I felt like a rock star. So I was like, whatever, I'm fine. It also like, that was a good lesson for me to learn that like the internet's fake. It's not real. It's not like the real life is outside, meeting people, interacting with people. People can say whatever they want online and they'll treat you like a rock star in person. So like, it was actually like it wasn't fun doing it, but I learned a lot of lessons through that experience that I think some of my peers didn't. And it served me well to honestly, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today and be as resilient in the space as I've ended up being if I got that kind of red carpet treatment off the bat. So it really worked out.
And it's funny, dude, how people will just be like, hey, you're a scumbag, you're this and the other. And then those same people will see you at the bar and they're like, hey, let me get you a drink, man. What was it like? How sick? Blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's just so interesting how the world revolves around you. And then how did you feel after it started to go away a little bit? Like you have this, like, you walk into the bar, you feel like a rock star. But then the next season of Bachelor comes out, and then like, it kind of like, your storyline kind of gets farther and farther removed from like the current event of everything that's going on.
You feel a little bit. I mean, I went back a few times, but it was like, yeah, you know, and I went back for different reasons. It wasn't because of that, but yeah, I caught myself. I was lucky that I went on TV when I think I was 33 when I first went on. So I was a little older. Like if I would have gone on like at 23, I'm glad I didn't. Like I've had conversations with some of my buddies, like, we've all caught ourselves, like when things would slow down, like walking a little slower, you know, past people, because you're like, you know, at first people would notice you and like, and then like, you know, less people notice you. And then you're like, you've caught yourself changing the speed at which you walk because you want to make sure they get a chance to see you. Right. So they notice you and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? You know, it's like those little games. But thankfully I was able to catch myself pretty early because her mom, beautiful woman, she's in her early 60s, the Golden Bachelor, not sure familiar with it. You know, we're teasing the idea of maybe having her go on. And I was talking to her, I'm like,
to go on that show.
I was like,
I
mean, you know, we could be
maybe like neither of them need to go on the show.
Set them up.
But I was saying, like, just like, I'm like, if you go on, I'm gonna make you get a therapist because like I was telling my mother-in-law, like it fucks with your brain chemistry. Like it's just not a normal thing to have the world, especially with the internet being what it is, to have access to like literally millions of people having an opinion about you, you know? And like you talked about the comments of like people gassing you up. And I've given similar advice to people who've asked, because it's like, if you're going to listen to the positive bullshit that people say about you, your subconscious brain says, if you're going to listen to those strangers, you have to listen to the strangers who are going to talk shit, right? You know, and it will fuck with you. But
the ones that talk shit for whatever reason, that holds more weight, or at least it lingers in the back of your mind that much more.
Oh yeah, I used to think I was a pretty good looking guy, and then I went on TV, and everyone's like saying, and I'm like, I'm an ugly motherfucker, and I guess I'm a terrible fucking person.
Binary scale, dude, 1-0, you're a 1. Like, you're winning the battle of yes or no. Yeah. The thing that's so funny about you talking about walking by slower. Because I bet at one point when you first did it, people were like, what's it like? Do you like it when you go out and people recognize you? I bet you said to somebody like, no, I hate that shit. Like, blah, blah, blah. That is such a bullshit thing. Like, if people are like, hey, people ask me, hey, will you sign this or take a photo? And then there's always somebody that's like trying to be like kind, but be like, this probably bothers you, doesn't it? And the answer to that is absolutely not. Like, there's times I have to go places and do something, so I'm in a little bit of a hurry, so I might not give you the time you might want. But I'll sign her and take a photo. But I think it's crazy when people are like, I hate that shit. It's bullshit. Because it's like, someday I'm going to walk somewhere and I'm going to walk into a room and no one's going to know or give a shit who I am. They're going to look at me and be like, guy looks tall, probably played sports. And it's going to be over. So you got to like enjoy these small moments of like, for whatever reason, people enjoy like what you did or what you do and like making the most of it, because it will end someday. It does not last forever unless you're Tom Cruise.
That cat keeps going. Taylor, it's been a ton of fun, man. I could talk for hours, but appreciate your time. Congratulations on Battle Camp. It's a great show. We enjoyed watching it. Plug away. I know you mentioned Bussin'. Just let the people know where they can follow you and just enjoy everything that you're doing out there.
Well, if you're looking for me personally, you can go to Taylor Lewan on Instagram, Taylor177 on Twitter. Bussin' with the Boys comes out every Tuesday, 6 a.m. Myself and Will Compton on a bus. We got athletes, we got musicians, actors, comedians, all those different things. It's a good time, dude. Come hang out.
All right, we'll check it out.
Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Thank you to our guests, Abbey and David, Taylor Lewan, as well as the entire cast of The Valley Shug. Welcome back. It's been great to have you. I hope to have more of you.
Oh my gosh, you can have me whenever you guys
now
want
that
me.
You
I
are
love being in this little
child
fan.
care support system.
Our
Oh my
sister
gosh,
mom.
I'm
mom.
Natalie's sister mom.
That
Thank
sounds.
you.
What?
It sounds like, honestly, like a little
Sister wives.
What?
incestual. It sounds. I don't know.
It
sounds
is.
No, it is. That's the
Natalie and
point.
I are incestual with each other. You're not involved. That's why it's sister mom,
Moms, not a sister
not
wife.
a sister
Okay.
wife.
All right.
Sister mom.
Sister mom.
All right. All right. Well, don't forget to check out our explosive interview with Lexi Wood, the Going Deeper episode that dropped yesterday. Thank you to all our guests this week. It's been an incredible week. We have a wild week coming up next week. First of all, it's a wild week because the premiere of The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 2 drops next Thursday. In fact, all the episodes drop. Guys, I don't think you're fully prepared for just how
Crazy.
juicy, scandalous, and as a fan of dramatic reality TV, an amazing season. The new newest member of Mom Talk, joins us. She was an OG member, and we have a very, very revealing episode of Going Deeper with Miranda. That is up next week on Going Deeper. Plus, a huge lineup of a very fascinating guest all next week. We'll see you then. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.